I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 351 Azer's free Omen, future Trunks strive. Seeing this, Son Goku in the arena was dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, Bupa and others left so suddenly, not even giving him any chance to steal Ultra Instinct at all. For a while, Son Goku's face was dark, and he clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Bupa, you are actually playing with me. At this moment, Son Goku just felt like he was being tricked. After all, Bupa said before that as long as he surrendered, he would teach Ultra Instinct, but he has surrendered now, but Bupa still chose to refuse. This is definitely something that Son Goku finds hard to accept, something he can't even believe. But now Son Goku has not reflected on his own problems, and put all the blame on Bupa. Son Goku's eyes turned a little red as his inner anger grew stronger. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku no longer hesitated, turned around and launched teleportation to leave the Supreme Kai world. By now, he knew very well that his stay had no meaning. Therefore, in such a situation, it is the best choice to leave this place as soon as possible. Not long after Son Goku left, a figure silently appeared in this area. It was none other than the old Supreme Kai. Looking at Son Goku's leaving back, the old Supreme Kai looked serious and murmured subconsciously, between good and evil, the ultimate good turned to evil, and I don't know if it's good or bad. I originally thought that he was the best choice, but I didn't expect things to turn out like this. For all this, Bupa et al. At this moment, Bupa and others have appeared on an uninhabited planet. Immediately afterwards, Bupa and Broly continued to conduct Ultra Instinct special training for Azer and others. As time passed, more than 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Buzz. On this day, a humming sound quietly resounded and broke the peace on the uninhabited planet. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that on the ground in the distance, the silver-white brilliance around Aize's body is dazzling. Feel free to sign up for success. With Broly's attack falling, Azer easily avoided his attack. Not only that, but with the completion of Ultra Instinct, Azer's power was completely restored as before. Without any hesitation, Azer struck out with a punch, and directly knocked Broly hundreds of meters away. Finished. Success. Almost instantly, everyone on the planet looked sideways. After seeing the appearance of Aize in the distance, everyone's breathing was rapid, especially Frieza and Vegeta, the shortness of breath at the moment. The eyes are red with it. For nothing else, the scene in front of him is really shocking. Free Omen. After cultivating for such a long time, they even thought that all this was difficult to accomplish. I even doubted whether Bupa's teaching methods were wrong. But what they never expected was that this matter would turn out to be like this. Has actually succeeded. This also means that there is no problem with the cultivation methods of himself and others. It is because of this that their hearts are more eager and yearning. After all, such a thing is simply incredible, even unbelievable. Incredible. I didn't expect that he would be the first to complete it. 39. For a time, Vegeta spoke subconsciously. Nothing is impossible. 99. Seeing this, Bupa raised the corner of his mouth, knocked Vegeta to the ground with a punch, and then slowly said, because Azer is more willing to learn, and has no doubts about me. But both you and Frieza have a certain degree of doubt about my words, which also led to your not fully investing in it, which led to the fact that you have not completed the Omen of Freedom for so long. As soon as these words came out, Vegeta and Frieza's expressions changed slightly. They all knew that Bupa's words were correct, and because of this, they were embarrassed at the moment. After all, the ability of Bupa to teach has been proven in such a situation is beyond doubt. Their so-called doubts before seemed meaningless at this moment. Master Bupa. Taking a deep breath, Frieza bowed and said, I know I was wrong. 35. Also please continue to teach me. I will definitely devote 100%. 0 flowers. As soon as these words came out, Vegeta on the side also woke up like a dream. Without the slightest hesitation, Vegeta struggled to stand up from the ground, and then he bowed and saluted without hesitation. Please also ask Lord Bupa to point me. 39. Very good. Seeing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. The thorough approval of Vegeta and Frieza is still quite happy for him, especially Vegeta. His loyalty has reached a level of 98, and as long as he completes the cultivation of the ultimate sign of freedom, he will be able to reach 100. At that time, he can get new rewards, so he can leave here and return to GT Universe. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, if that's the case, then jingle bell. Before Bupa could finish speaking, a bell rang quietly. This is, with a frown, Vegeta subconsciously took out a communicator from her arms. The next second, Bulma's voice in the communicator came out, Vegeta come back. 5. The Trunks are here again, seriously injured and in a coma at the moment. 99. Trunks. Hearing this, Vegeta's pupils shrank, and her expression turned serious at this moment. Trunks are his sons. And Bulma's words were referring to the future Trunks, and he also knew the seriousness of this matter. I see. Taking a deep breath, Vegeta answered and hung up the communicator. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to Bupa and he said, Lord Bupa, can you let me go back to Earth first? Trunks is my son, he should have come from the future, and he is still seriously injured. It should be something big happened in the future. So now I have to go back as soon as possible to see what's going on. Trunks are coming. How to say Zamasu's story is about to start. With a flash of light in his eyes, Bbook appeared calm on the surface, but his heart was full of anticipation at the moment. Zamasu appeared, which also represented the opportunity to go to the super-futuristic world of Dragon Ball. As long as he can go to that future world, then he can have the possibility to find the Super Dragon Ball and make a wish. Chapter 352 Trunks Awakened, Bulma's Wrath. No problem at all. As soon as he thought about it, Bbook immediately said, since it is your own family that is in danger, you can't just sit back and ignore it. It just so happens that Aize has also completed the cultivation of the ultimate sign of freedom, but he cannot improve greatly in a short period of time. Then I'll just let Broly point Frieza, and I'll take you to Earth first. Hearing this, Vegeta immediately sighed in relief. Since Bbook has agreed, it means that he can leave here and return to Earth to see. Thinking of this, Vegeta didn't hesitate, and immediately said, if that's the case, then I'll bother Lord Bbook. No problem. With a wave of his hand, Bbook didn't care too much. Turning around and looking at Broly, he said, Broly, then I will hand over 293 to you here. Okay, big brother. Nodding. Broly could also see that Bbook obviously had his own mind to go to Earth this time, but he wouldn't ask too much. After all, he didn't know what Bbook was going to do, and the latter had no intention of telling him. This also means that, rather than going with Broly, Bbook recognizes that he is going alone. Thinking of this, Broly immediately said, so, then, big brother, you will have a smooth journey. Good. 35. Nodding, the corners of Bbook's mouth rose slightly. Immediately afterwards, Bbook didn't hesitate any longer, and immediately grabbed Vegeta's shoulder and launched instant transmission, disappearing from the spot. Uncle Broly, please enlighten me. At this moment, a voice came. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Aize had successfully mastered his own power at this moment. Under the blessing of the power of the free Omen, he did not hesitate to attack Broly quickly. It's good to come. Seeing this, Broly laughed, and without the slightest hesitation, he immediately launched his transformation to attack. In the next second, the two figures fought together in midair. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. The deafening roar resounded, and it was clear that the speed of the two figures was getting faster and faster. Frieza on the ground kept dodging, completely unable to resist the aftermath of the two-man battle. But precisely because of this, his heart is also full of strong decision and firmness at this moment. Not for anything else, because he is very clear about what this matter represents, and he knows that if he doesn't work hard, the gap between the two sides will only get bigger and bigger. For a time, the entire planet was filled with the breath of Azer and Broly. As time went by, the battle between the two became more and more intense, and even more terrifying. Universal Capsule Company. Trunks. After finishing the communication, Bulma looked worriedly at the unconscious Trunks in front of him. Following her cry, the Trunks lying on the ground woke up somewhat groggy. Immediately afterwards, Trunks seemed to sense something, and the whole person suddenly raised his head to look at Bulma. Mum! Shouting in his mouth, Trunks' eyes were full of impatience and pain. When he thought of the sight of the future world being destroyed, he could not wait to tear it to pieces. But soon, Trunks calmed down. Not for anything else, because he knew very well what the situation in front of him represented, and he knew better that the Bulma in front of him was not his mother in the future. Thinking of this, Trunks immediately said, Mom, I'm sorry for worrying you. Trunks. Seeing this, Bulma breathed a sigh of relief. She could see the reaction of Trunks before, and knew better what it all meant. Thinking of this, Bulma immediately asked, Trunks, what happened to your future world? Did you meet Majin Buu, or did you meet the gods of destruction from the future? From Bulma's point of view, only Majin Buu and Beerus seemed to be able to threaten the Trunks. Besides, she really couldn't think of anything in the future world that could make Trunks so embarrassed. Majin Buu. Stunned for a moment, Trunks replied subconsciously. The monster didn't wake up, and Supreme Kandai sealed it directly. As for gods of destruction, I have never seen such an existence in the future world. Mom, Just as Trunks was about to continue to say something, a sound of spatial vibration resounded. 0. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Son Goku, who has long returned to Earth, is also in a hurry at this moment. Bulma. Shouting out, Son Goku sped toward Bulma and Trunks. Goku. Luo. Black Goku. 39. Bulma was overjoyed when he saw the person coming. But Trunks' expression changed drastically. Immediately afterwards, Trunks did not hesitate, and immediately launched the Super Saiyan 2 transformation form regardless of his own injury. Kill. With a loud roar, Trunks didn't hesitate. He slammed his sword and attacked Son Goku in the distance. Seeing this, Son Goku was dumbfounded. Facing the attacking Trunks, he subconsciously began to dodge. But Son Goku didn't fight back rashly at the moment, but subconsciously shouted, Trunks, what's wrong with you? Trunks, what happened? Trunks Army, I am Son Goku. 66.99. However, no matter how he shouted, the Trunks at the moment were completely anxious, and the whole person attacked Son Goku frantically. Under such circumstances, the two figures fought each other within the scope of the Universal Capsule Company. Trunks 0.7 Until now, Bulma just woke up like a dream. Immediately afterwards, she also quickly walked into the area within the battlefield without caring about other areas. Without the slightest hesitation, Bulma dodged in the area in front of Son Goku and scolded, "Trunks, what are you doing?" Although I know that Trunks is not a casual shot, it's even possible that there was something in it that he didn't know about, but Bulma wouldn't allow him to go on like this. After all, Son Goku is Bulma's friend, and there is nothing wrong with being a childhood sweetheart. Call out. The long sword broke through the air and immediately settled in the area in front of Bulma. At this point, Trunks woke up, looked at Son Goku and Bulma, and quickly retracted the long sword. "Mum, sorry Uncle Goku, Chapter 353 Trunks' Confession, Beerus comes. Bulma and Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief at the sight of the Trunks revived. After looking at each other, Son Goku quickly waved his hand and said, "It's alright." "Trunks, what happened to you just now? Why did you suddenly attack me?" As soon as these words came out, Bulma also looked at Trunks curiously. After all, with what she knew about Trunks, it was absolutely impossible for the latter to act so impolitely. So what is it that makes Trunks act like this? Even a desperate attack on Son Goku. Mum, 99. Uncle Goku. Seeing this situation, Trunks no longer hides anything. After all, this matter really needs a good explanation. Thinking of this, Trunks immediately said, "The thing is this, a devastating disaster has occurred in our future world, Aize." Before Trunks could speak, a spatial vibration resounded. The next second, the figures of Bupa and Vegeta appeared in the courtyard. "Bulma." "Trunks." Almost instantly, Vegeta 20 began to shout. Without the slightest hesitation, Vegeta quickly came to the area where Bulma and Trunks were. After seeing that neither of them were injured, Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta's eyes locked on Trunks and said, "Trunks, what happened?" Vegeta, 35. Bupa, Dad, 35. Seeing the person coming, the three Bulma in the field all leaped different reactions. Bulma and Trunks are the colors of joy. However, Son Goku's expression was extremely fluctuating at the moment. For nothing else, it was Bupa's refusal to teach him Ultra Instinct that made him extremely concerned. Not just for Bupa, including Vegeta, Son Goku's heart is also a little more complaining. But at the moment, Son Goku didn't mean to show it. He just stood by and watched. Although I don't know what the situation is, from the situation of Trunks, there must be something big in the future world. Dad. After returning to his senses, Trunks did not dare to neglect, and hurriedly said, "In my future time, a self-proclaimed god appeared." As soon as that person appeared, he began to eliminate human beings, and even carried out a human elimination plan, intending to eliminate all human beings on the entire earth. That person is extremely powerful, even I am not his opponent at all, and even the mother of the future world died in his hands. Before my mother died, I was seriously injured and sent into a time machine, and then I came here. His Son Goku, Vegeta and Bulma who were present couldn't help taking a deep breath after listening to Trunks' narration. Died. The Bulma of the future world actually died. This is simply unimaginable, and the most important thing is that the enemy of the future world actually calls himself a god. Could it be Beerus? Immediately, Vegeta thought of gods of destruction Beerus, and subconsciously asked, "Is that person a skinny purple cat?" Shaking his head, Trunks glanced at Son Goku not far away with a complicated look, and then said, "That man's appearance is exactly the same as Uncle Goku. That's why when I woke up and saw Uncle Goku, I attacked desperately. But after that, I have come back to my senses. Although that person is exactly the same as Uncle Goku, the aura on his body is completely different." "What? Exactly the same as Kakarot?" Hearing this, Vegeta was dumbfounded, Bulma was dumbfounded, and Son Goku was dumbfounded too. The three couldn't believe such a thing at all. But such words happened from the mouth of Trunks, which means that all this must be true. For a time, the atmosphere in the field suddenly became depressed. Bulma is dead? This is really unexpected news. It seems that the butterfly effect will also occur in the future world. 35. On the other hand, the expression of Bupa in the area on the side was a little changeable at the moment. He was also quite surprised at the moment. But he was soon relieved, for nothing else, because he knew very well that his existence had caused too many butterfly effects. Thinking of this, Bupa pondered for a while, and then most likely made a judgment. Although the Bulma of the future world is dead, but now that Trunks is still alive, that means things haven't changed much. Zamasu in the future world has successfully completed his plan, and has even begun the final plan to return to Zero. It's just that from the current situation, he still can't see how far the Black Goku of the future world has reached. After all, in the original book, when the Black Goku first appeared, he had not yet grasped the state of pink. But in the current situation, Son Goku has mastered the dark blue transformation, which means that the latter is likely to be more powerful. How is this possible? Could it be Saiyan? At this moment, Vegeta came back to his senses first, and said with an ugly face, Except for Saiyan, how can there be an existence exactly like Kakarot? 293 But it is impossible for Saiyan in the 7th universe to have a similar existence, whether it is Bbook or the rest of the inferior Saiyan. It is reasonable to say that they have been completely wiped out. 66. At this moment, Vegeta's mind kept thinking about possible situations. Only Son Goku and Bulma were still in a state of confusion at the moment, unable to believe what they were hearing. Zizi. At this moment, a ray of light quietly brightened. Immediately afterwards, 7 colored radiants could be seen falling from the sky, and the figures of Whis and Beerus appeared in the area of the arena. Master Beerus. Seeing the appearance of Beerus, the 3 of Son Goku in the arena came back to their senses, and quickly stepped forward to greet him. Nodding his head, Beerus looked indifferent and glanced at Son Goku and the others in the arena. Soon, Beerus' eyes focused on the area where Trunks was. After looking up and down for a moment, Beerus said, "Whis, is that him?" "Yes, Lord Beerus." Nodding his head, Whis said without hesitation, "This person is the stowaway I detected crossing time 5. He does not belong to our timeline, but violated the order set by Lord Zeno." Chapter 354 Angry Beerus, Black Goku descends. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the people present changed. For nothing else, it was the words of Beerus and Whis that really made people feel uneasy, especially Bulma and Vegeta. Trunks are their children. If there is any accident, it is definitely not something they can accept. Even if the Trunks are from the future, not the little Trunks they have now. Master Beerus. Subconsciously, Vegeta said, "I dare to ask Lord Beerus, what kind of punishment will Trunks face if they violate the rules?" 5. As soon as these words came out, Bulma and Son Goku also looked at Beerus curiously. Erase. Not selling off, Beerus glanced at Trunks indifferently at the moment, and then said, "Traveling through time is expressly forbidden. Even a god is not allowed to do such a thing, let alone a mere mortal." "What?" "Obliterate." Hearing this, Vegeta and Bulma panicked. If they really want to kill Trunks, then this is definitely not something they can accept. Subconsciously, Vegeta dodged to block the area in front of Trunks, and said nervously, "Lord Beerus, all the Trunks are forced to come here." 35. It wasn't even that he took the initiative to come to this time period, but because there is a guy in the future world who is similar to Kakarot who claims to be a god, not only controls the earth, but also destroys the human beings on the earth. Everything. 5. If you really want to be held accountable, then the one who wants to hold this guy accountable is. As soon as these words came out, Bulma nodded quickly. "Lord Beerus, Trunks has absolutely no intention to travel through time at will." All this is caused by the Black Goku of the future world. The guy who claims to be a god wants to destroy the earth and destroy human beings, which leads to the Trunks being broken into the time machine and coming to our time factory. Lord Beerus, please hold your hands high. We will send Trunks back into the future after they recover, and we will never let him stay in this timeline for long. At this moment, Bulma had no choice but to settle for the next best thing. As long as it can protect the safety of Trunks, the rest of it is too much to care about. The most important thing is that in such a situation, as long as the Trunks are restored to their original state, Vegeta and others will definitely be able to destroy the fake Black Goku when they go to the future world. Destroy the earth, destroy humanity. God. Hearing this, Beerus and Whis frowned slightly. Bulma and Vegeta's words made them feel a little wrong. If there really is a future world, then it stands to reason that they can't miss the food of the earth. Under such circumstances, there is actually a guy who claims to be a god who wants to destroy everything on earth. How can the gods of destruction in the future world not stop it? Subconsciously, Beerus locked his gaze on Trunks and said, "Trunks, right? I ask you, what about the gods of destruction and Angel in the future world? You were attacked. Didn't Whis and I in the future world help?" As soon as these words came out, the 3 of Son Goku also looked at Trunks curiously. After all, according to Beerus, if he in the future world makes a move, then the so-called Black Goku will definitely not be his opponent. No. 39. Facing the question, Trunks shook his head, then gave Beerus a complicated look and said, "I have never seen the existence of gods of destruction and Angel in the future world. The only god I've ever had contact with is Lord Supreme Kai, but he's already been killed by the Black Goku who calls himself a god." "What? Supreme Kai is dead?" Hearing this, Beerus instantly exclaimed. This was definitely something he didn't expect, and it was even difficult for him to accept. Supreme Kai died. It also means that the self in the future world is also dead. This also means that the guy who claimed to be a god in the future world really did something extremely infuriating. The most important thing is, if the self in the future world dies, will the present self also encounter similar things? Black Goku. 99. Looking at Son Goku subconsciously, Beerus' thought of killing Trunks was reduced a lot. After a little pondering, Beerus then asked, "Little guy, tell me about the so-called Black Goku." "That guy calls himself a god. Is it really a god, and he actually knows such a secret?" "It seems that he is definitely not an ordinary existence." As soon as these words came out, the 3 Vegeta also looked at Trunks. Only Bupa looked calm at the moment. He knew very well that what happened in the future world was caused by Zamasu, and that the latter would soon follow. Thinking of this, Bupa's pupils suddenly shrank, as if he noticed something. He turned around suddenly and looked at an area and said, "Here comes." Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the eyes of Whis and Beerus also looked into the air. Zizi. The space is distorted, and the matching space tunnel slowly emerges. Immediately afterwards, the Black Goku figure in the future world can be seen appearing in the air. Black Goku, seeing the person coming, Trunks on the ground, was stunned for a moment, and then he gritted his teeth with murderous intent. "Damn, you actually chased after him." Trunks. Hearing this, Black Goku glanced at Trunks. However, he didn't care about the existence of the latter at the moment. Instead he looked at Beerus and Whis with frown, and muttered, "Since it is gods of destruction and angel. Son Goku, Trunks, you're lucky this time." Saying that, Black Goku raised his hand. Good promise, and the ring of time in his hand was bright, and he planned to leave this place. Not for anything else. If it's just Trunks and Son Goku, he certainly can't be afraid of anything. But the presence of Beerus and Whis also made him realize that his own strength was not enough to contend with them. Therefore, under such circumstances, his only hope is to leave this place as soon as possible. Only by escaping from this place can we survive and have the possibility to complete all of our plans. Want to leave the people. Seeing this, Beerus' eyes flashed on the ground, and he immediately said, "Whis, block him for me. The guy who killed me in the future. I must find out what happened today." Yes. With a promise, Whis was also quite curious at the moment. Without the slightest hesitation, Whis raised the scepter in his hand, and a beam of light shot directly suppressed the power of the time ring, preventing Black Goku from leaving. Chapter 355 Black Goku's Gambling Fight, Beerus' Decision. Zizi. The power of the scepter swept out, directly blocking the emerging space tunnel. In this case, Black Goku has no possibility of escaping, including the time ring in his hand, which has no effect. Damn. 5. Angel. Seeing this, Goku's face instantly turned ashen. Never expected that his quick response would still not help Angel Whis. At the same time, he also understands that today he is a real misfortune. After all, he was facing Beerus, the gods of destruction of the 7th universe, and even the gods of destruction of the 12 universes ranked high. Time ring, you are Supreme Kai. At this time, Beerus had noticed the existence of the time ring in Black Goku's hand. Stepping forward, Beerus' face was ashen as he gritted his teeth. No wonder you know the secret between gods of destruction and Supreme Kai. With such a wanton destruction of the future world, you, gods of destruction, definitely do not belong to our 7th universe. Tell me your origin, or I'll make you live and die. At this moment, Beerus' eyes overflowed with murderous intent. He was extremely curious about the origin of Black Goku, and at the same time, he was even more determined to find an opportunity to kill him completely. A Supreme Kai, and not yet in the 7th universe. Under such circumstances, the guy in front of him must find an opportunity to solve it if he needs it. After all, once this guy escaped, it would be difficult for him to figure out what was going on. As a result, once he did not solve the threats and troubles within this time period, then maybe this guy will show up soon, and even kill Supreme Kai and let him die. Beerus. 35. Faced with the question, Goku's face turned ashen. By now, he knew that he had no choice but let him give up like this. But Black Goku's Zamasu also said that he couldn't do it. After taking a look at Beerus, Goku said slowly, "It's not impossible to know my information. But you, Beerus and Whis next to you, can't do anything to me either. Besides that, anyone else in your 7th universe can shoot, as long as they can beat me. I'll tell you everything." 35. On the contrary, if no one in the 7th universe can beat me, then you need to let Whis release the ban and let me leave here. 99. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Son Goku, Vegeta and others all frowned, feeling that Goku's words were a little arrogant. But judging from the latter's confident expression, the latter does not seem to be really conceited. In this way, the latter really has absolute certainty and confidence to defeat everyone in the 7th universe. Interesting. How arrogant. 99. Beerus smiled. After glancing at Black Goku, he immediately asked, "Whis, how is his strength?" Report to Lord Beerus, this person's strength is around the early 10th order. 99. However, his appearance is very similar to Saiyan, even Son Goku, so I suspect he will also be Super Saiyan, and may be stronger than Son Goku and others. 5. Hearing this, Beerus frowned. Not only him, but also the interviews with Son Goku and Vegeta became serious. Tier 10 Initial Combat Power. This is just the basic combat power of Black Goku. If he will also be transformed into a Super Saiyan God, it is just relying on himself and others, and there is really not much confidence in being able to defeat him. Subconsciously, Vegeta looked at Bupa beside him and said, "Master Bupa, is this guy really so strong?" Hearing this, Bupa glanced at Vegeta, then locked his eyes on the Black Goku, and said, "System, check the information of the Black Goku." 35. The next second, Black Goku's message appeared in front of his eyes. Black Goku, race, Saiyan, bloodline, second class super race god. Combat strength, early stage 10. Transformation, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan, Ka, God Pink. Abilities, Airblade, Kamehameha Wave, God Judgment, God Sanction. Unfinished Super Race God White. It seems that Zamasu in this time period has not reached the level of the third stage of Super Saiyan. 99. After reading Black Goku's information, Bupa was calm on the surface, but he was relieved inside. If Black Goku learns the Super Saiyan White, it will be really difficult at that time, and even not many people in the 7th universe can be his opponents. Thinking of this, Bupa didn't hide it and said, his basic combat power is indeed the early 10th rank, and he has also mastered a transformation form that is not inferior to Super Saiyan Deep Blue, so if you want to defeat him, it is indeed a little troublesome. Hiss. With Bupa's confirmation, Vegeta and the others couldn't help but take a deep breath. Without him, it's true that Bupa's words are too shocking. The initial combat power of the 10th order is not inferior to the transformation of the dark blue form, which means that the Black Goku in front of him is really stronger than Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks in the field. Thinking of this, Vegeta clenched his fists subconsciously, thinking about how to solve it completely. After all, this guy in the future killed Bulma, who was his Vegeta's wife. Under such circumstances, Beerus nodded indifferently. After glancing at Goku, Beerus said, "Whis, let Bora even come here. Today I'm going to see what this guy has the ability to dare to be so arrogant and domineering." The battle strength in the early stage of the 10th order is good, but it does not mean that he is invincible. "Yes, Lord Beerus." Hearing this, Whis nodded. He understood why Beerus would agree, and more clearly what the latter's purpose was. After pondering for a while, Whis immediately said, "So, please wait for me for half an hour, Lord Beerus." After speaking, Whis glanced at Black Goku, and immediately disappeared from the spot as soon as his mind moved. Watching Whis leave, Goku breathed a sigh of relief. If it was just facing Beerus, he didn't have much fear, but in the case of Whis, he really didn't dare to slack off. After Whis left, Black Goku locked his gaze on Beerus and said with a grin, "Beerus, you have to pay for your own arrogance." As he spoke, the figure of Goku descended from the sky. When he reached the area in front of Son Goku and Vegeta, he raised his hand and said contemptuously, "Come on, lowly inferior humans." Chapter 356 Son Goku vs Black Goku. The pink state is beginning to show. Hearing this, Son Goku and Vegeta's faces turned blue. Black Goku's words made them feel extremely contemptuous, and even completely despised their existence. This is definitely not good news for them, and it can even be regarded as absolutely malicious. Looking at each other, Son Goku immediately stepped forward and said, "Vegeta, since he looks exactly like me, leave it to me." Hearing this, Vegeta glanced at Son Goku. To be honest, his heart was also full of murderous intent at the moment. After all, the latter killed the future Bulma. But he was not impulsive, because he knew very well that the guy in front of him must not be underestimated. After all, Bupa had already said it before, this guy's basic combat power has reached the level of the early 10th order. Therefore, in such a situation, he must observe the other side carefully. "Okay." 35. Nodding, Vegeta said directly, "Kakarot, I'll leave it to you." "It is good." After receiving Vegeta's reply, Son Goku was overjoyed at the moment. For the Black Goku in front of him, his heart is also full of strong fighting spirit. Taking a step forward, Son Goku immediately said, "Although I don't know why you look exactly like me, I will be your opponent from now on." After that, Son Goku stepped out one step. The azure brilliance all over his body was dazzling, and he immediately entered the Super Saiyan God Blue. For a time, Son Goku's breath spewed, and it immediately reached the level of the late 9th order. After doing all this, Son Goku no longer hesitated, jumped up and attacked Black Goku. "It's up to you." In this regard, a trace of disdain flashed in Black Goku's eyes. The combat power of the mere 9th order late stage does not have any pressure on him, and he does not even need to transform. Without the slightest hesitation, Black Goku dodged and went straight to meet him. In the next second, the two figures fought together in midair. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. The deafening roar resounded, and the two figures fought each other. In just a few breaths, Son Goku was suppressed, and it was difficult to compete even with all his might. And all this is just under the premise that the Black Goku has not undergone any transformation. It can be seen that the gap between the two sides is huge. How come? Kakarot is no match for it at all. 99. Seeing this, Vegeta frowned, clenching her fists subconsciously, her eyes full of solemnity. Although he was very upset with Black Goku, he could also see what this matter represented. "Get off." At this moment, Goku let out a low growl. The next second, Black Goku slammed a punch and immediately attacked Son Goku's face. With a bang, Son Goku smashed to the ground and splashed a large piece of dust. Cough cough. On the ground, Son Goku struggled to his feet. Feeling the pain all over his body, a trace of horror and unwillingness flashed in his eyes at this moment. Although the latter looks exactly the same as him, his own strength is indeed much stronger than him. This is definitely not good news for Son Goku, but he has nothing to do about it. After pondering for a while, Son Goku gritted his teeth and said, "Drink." With a low roar resounding, the azure brilliance around Son Goku turned to deep blue. Under such circumstances, Son Goku's aura grew again, soaring directly to the early stage of the 10th order. After completing the transformation, Son Goku raised his head and looked at the Black Goku in midair. "Come again." 39. After saying that, Son Goku stepped on the ground, jumped up and attacked Black Goku's face. "Good come." Seeing this, Black Goku has no fear. Seeing his attack coming, Kuro Goku flickered to meet him again. The next second, the two figures fought together in midair again. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. The fierce roar resounded continuously, and the two figures were fighting frantically, but the strength of the two was not equal. But even so, Black Goku still has a certain advantage. It's Supreme Kai after all. The means at his disposal are indeed not comparable to Son Goku, especially that hand that gathers chi into a blade. The sharpness of this hand's attack is definitely not comparable to that of ordinary people. However, Son Goku's fighting spirit should not be underestimated. Although his skills may not be as good as Black Goku, but with his own fighting awareness and experience, he is also abruptly on a par with him. Zero flowers 0. Good guy. 35. This Black Goku is so powerful. On the ground, Vegeta's face was solemn, and his eyes were full of seriousness at the moment. He could already see that Son Goku was in full force at the moment. But even so, he is still not the opponent of the Black Goku in front of him, and he can't even force the latter to transform. This also means that the latter's strength is really not comparable to what he is now, or even completely unmatched. At this moment, Trunks stepped forward and asked with a complicated expression, "What kind of transformation is Uncle Goku? Is that also Saiyan's transformation? Why does it look completely different from my Saiyan transformation, and can't even perceive his presence?" Trunks doesn't know about Super Saiyan. So at this moment, my heart is really full of curiosity and doubt. That is the transformation of Super Saiyan God. After returning to his senses, Vegeta glanced at Trunks and said, "You can do this kind of transformation too. But if you want to accomplish this, you still need to find 5 Saiyans to infuse you with the power of your heart." As for Kakarot's current state, it is a transformation beyond Super Saiyan God, and we call it Super Saiyan Deep Blue. I see. After listening to Vegeta's story, Trunks suddenly realized. Immediately afterwards, Trunks said with a look of anticipation, "Super Saiyan God. I didn't expect Saiyan to exist in such a transformed form. But Dad, since both Uncle Goku and you can complete such a transformation, can the Black Goku in front of you also complete a similar existence?" As soon as these words came out, Vegeta's expression changed slightly. Indeed, he hadn't thought about it before. If this Black Goku can also transform into a Super Race God, then, humble monkey, you completely pissed me off. 35. At this moment, the angry scolding of Black Goku resounded in midair. Looking at the sound, there was a trace of blood on his face, apparently being hit by Son Goku. At this moment, Black Goku was burning with anger. His eyes were fixed on Son Goku, his whole body was violent, and a touch of pink quietly emerged. Chapter 357 Son Goku loses, Vegeta unblocks. Super Race God Pink. Later 11th stage combat power. Seeing the transformation form of Black Goku, everyone present couldn't help exclaiming, especially Vegeta. His expression at this moment is even more difficult to see. The extreme Super Saiyan rose. This is the Super Race God transformation form that Supreme Kai can only perfect. This also means that the guy in front of him has really completed the combination of Supreme Kai and Super Saiyan. Not only that, as Black Goku completes this type of transformation, it means that he has probably surpassed Son Gohan. You must know that although Son Gohan can also complete the Super Saiyan God Pink, he himself has not yet completed the fusion Supreme Kai power. This is really not easy to do. The combat power of the late 11th stage is already the limit of gods of destruction. Also frowning were 29-7 Whis and Beerus. Neither of them thought that the power of Black Goku could reach such a level. With its late 11th order combat power, almost no one in the 7th universe can compete with it except Azer and Blue Olean. The most important thing is that both Azer and Blue Olean are still practicing, unless they wait for the arrival of the two, otherwise no one can stop his existence. Damn it, this guy really deserves death. Opening his mouth, Beerus' eyes showed a trace of murderous intent for this existence that will kill him in the future. He can't wait to destroy it immediately, but he knew there was no point in doing it all by himself now. After all, in such a situation, if there is a little carelessness, what awaits him is not only the pleasure of destroying the deal, but also endless troubles. After all, the identity of the guy in front of him has not been figured out, which is a huge threat to Beerus. It is necessary to clarify the identity of the other party as soon as possible to ensure that there will be no accidental existence, and he can also erase it within this time period. Whis. Subconsciously, Beerus then asked, "Can you sense this guy's message?" "It's not clear yet." Glancing at Beerus, Whis said indifferently, "His divine power has been combined with Super Saiyan, which has caused the aura of divine power itself to change." 99. So under such circumstances, I can't find his existence within the 12 universe. This also means that the guy in front of me is not Black Goku, but some Supreme Kai who has taken Son Goku's body. 5. Although the aura on his body has changed, the aura other than the power of God belongs to Son Goku. What? Take home Son Goku. Hearing this, Beerus raised his brows, and his expression became even more ugly at this moment. Originally, he had doubted how there could be two identical existences, and even suspected that Black Goku was the Son Goku he knew. But from what Whis is telling now, it doesn't seem to be the case, and it's definitely not as simple as he imagined. Subconsciously, Beerus fixed his gaze on Black Goku and murmured, "If that happens, then we have to wait for Azer and the others to arrive." 5. As long as I completely defeat this guy, I can solve the threat within this time period. 99. Hearing this, Whis also nodded. Even as Angel, he couldn't think of the identity and origin of the other party at the moment. But one thing is certain, that is, the guy in front of him is indeed Supreme Kai, and it is Supreme Kai that belongs to one of the 12 universes. If you look carefully, there is absolutely a possibility of finding it. But the time consuming in that case is also huge. I dare not say that neither Whis nor Beerus can search for it like a headless fly. At this moment, a scream descended from the sky. Looking at the sound, you can clearly see Son Goku's figure smashed to the ground. In the face of the Black Goku in the state of Super Saiyan God Pink, Son Goku who is only in the dark blue form is no match at all. The strength of the two sides differed by more than one stage, which also led to the fact that they could not hold onto the Black Goku at all. With a loud bang, Son Goku slammed to the ground and exited from deep blue mode. Not only that, Son Goku was lying there in agony at the moment. His face was pale, and his ribs were broken, and he looked like he was dying. Kakarot. Son Goku. Uncle Goku. Seeing this, Vegeta, Bulma, and Trunks subconsciously exclaimed. 0. Although there have been many misunderstandings before, Vegeta is still very concerned about Son Goku. Now that Son Goku is injured so badly, it's really hard to just sit back and watch. With a thought, Vegeta hurriedly arrived at the place where Son Goku was. After he was lifted from the ground, he quickly walked towards the area where Beerus was. Vegeta knew very well that Bupa would not be able to save Son Goku. After all, Son Goku cheated on him before. Such a thing is absolutely intolerable. So, in the current situation, the only person who can save Son Goku is Beerus. After all, the All-Universe Conference will soon follow, and if there is no Son Goku to join at that time, the odds of winning the 7th universe will also decrease. Lord Beerus. After arriving at Beerus' place, Vegeta hurriedly said, "Please also treat Son Goku." "I do not know." However, Beerus pouted his lips at the moment and said indifferently, "I am the gods of destruction, so I don't know how to treat people like this. But he is only seriously injured now, and there is no fear of his life. It's okay to treat twice after he returns." Hearing this, Vegeta smiled bitterly. Indeed, as the gods of destruction, how could Beerus have these 0.7 means of treating people? In desperation, Vegeta could only put Son Goku on the ground, and then greeted the Trunks to take care of him. After doing all this, Vegeta walked to the area where Bupa was, and bowed and saluted. "Master Bupa, please release the seal of yourself." For now, Vegeta intends to fight. Although he doesn't know what his current basic combat power has reached, he doesn't intend to give up on this, so he will be a tortoise. Glancing at Vegeta, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and then he said, "Since you've made up your mind, let's try it." Having said that, Bupa no longer hesitated, and directly reached out and touched the area between Vegeta's eyebrows. Immediately after, Bupa's thoughts immediately lifted the seal on Vegeta's power. Chapter 358 Strong Vegeta, the terrifying 11th order combat power. Drink. As the seal was lifted, Vegeta immediately drank. In the next second, a surging breath swept out of his body. In just a few breaths, Vegeta's breath has grown to the point of the late 9th order. How could this be? It suddenly became so much stronger. Immediately, the eyes of Son Goku and the others all focused on Vegeta. The latter has suddenly raised the basic combat power to such a level in a short period of time, which is simply incredible. You know, Son Goku has always been instructed by Beerus and others, but his basic combat power is only in the 8th order state. In just over half a year, Vegeta's basic combat power was not even as good as Son Goku, but now he has suddenly become so much stronger than him. How can you become so much stronger all of a sudden? How did Vegeta practice during this time? Staring blankly at this scene, Son Goku on the ground in the distance opened his mouth subconsciously, his eyes full of incredible colors. You must know that the basic combat power of the later 9th tier 20 is not comparable to the late 8th tier. The two sides are not at the same level at all, and even the huge gap between the two is simply unacceptable. For a moment, Son Goku clenched his fists subconsciously. If my previous self practiced with Bupa, maybe I could have reached such a level. but because of his careful thinking back then, Bupa refused to instruct him to practice, and even caused the gap between the two sides to be widened so much now. Damn it, 95, cursing in his mouth, Son Goku's eyes were full of remorse. If he had known this earlier, he would never have had any thoughts back then. Now that he has completely offended Bupa, Son Goku doesn't think he can promise anything by surrendering to the latter. Uncle Goku. Seeing this situation, Trunks on the side asked subconsciously, did something happen? No. Hearing this, Son Goku woke up like a dream. After looking at the Trunks next to him, Son Goku quickly suppressed his inner emotions and said, it's just that Vegeta has increased so much combat power all at once that surprises me. Speaking of this, Son Goku's mouth was bitter. Tier 1. A full 1 SD order power gap. This is not an existence that he can make up for by cultivating casually. The huge gap between the two sides is simply unacceptable. I see. Nodding thoughtfully, Trunks didn't know about the existence of the two parties. In just a moment, Trunks said, Dad's basic combat power has reached rank 9. Doesn't that mean Dad still has the possibility of defeating that Black Goku? As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and the others' expressions froze slightly. Indeed, according to Trunks, in Vegeta's dark blue state, he does have an 11th order combat power. Thinking of this, the corners of Beerus' mouth rose slightly, and he immediately said, Vegeta, give me defeat this brazen guy. 35. Even if the previous Son Goku went all out, it was difficult to compete with the Black Goku, because the difference in basic combat power between the two sides was too great. But now it's different. Vegeta's basic combat power has reached the late 9th stage, and with the blessing of the dark blue state, it can completely reach the point where it is comparable to the Black Goku. It is good. Hearing this, Vegeta has recovered at this moment, having experienced the growth of his own strength. He has also been thoroughly excited. I thought that my strength would not increase much after I lifted the seal, but I didn't expect it to increase so much. In this way, Vegeta really doesn't think she will fail. Black Goku. Raising her head, Vegeta's eyes were immediately locked on Goku's body in the distance, and she said murderously, come on, 99. Saying that, Vegeta stepped out of the Azer brilliance all over her body, and immediately entered the Super Saiyan God Blue. In an instant, Vegeta's combat power soared and reached the level of the early 11th order. Ha ha. Feeling the fluctuation of her own power, Vegeta couldn't help laughing. In a sense, he is now the top gods of destruction combat power. Although it is not comparable to Beerus, it is also enough to compete with the general gods of destruction. Thinking of this, Vegeta didn't even show the dark blue state, and the whole person jumped up and came to the area in midair. In an instant, the aura around Vegeta's body was violent, and the whole person turned into a streamer and attacked the Black Goku in midair. Vegeta. Seeing this, Goku's expression changed slightly. From Vegeta's body, he did indeed feel a hint of threat. For a split second, Black Goku didn't dare to neglect, and after condensing his chi into a blade, he went forward without hesitation. In the next second, the two figures immediately fought together in midair. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. A deafening roar resounded, and the two figures fought directly in midair. In just a few breaths, the two sides have fought hundreds of times, and even Black Goku has obvious scars. Have the opportunity. Squeeze him. 35. Great. Vegeta has a 297 chance of winning. Seeing this situation, everyone on the ground exclaimed, and everyone's eyes were full of ecstasy, especially Beerus. The smile on his face was even great now. Vegeta's combat power has reached such a level, and with the presence of Azer and Borolian, the 7th universe will be more likely to win the entire universe conference in the future. So strong. Dad suddenly became so powerful. On the ground, Trunks looked even more adored. By now, he can be sure that Vegeta's power far exceeds Son Goku. Although Vegeta's power is not much stronger now than Son Goku was before. But in the current situation, Vegeta has not yet displayed the dark blue mode, which means that Vegeta has further possibilities. For a time, Trunks clenched his fists subconsciously, and his eyes were full of strong fighting intent. I must complete the transformation of Super Saiyan God as soon as possible. Only by becoming so powerful can I protect the world from similar threats in the future. At this moment, Trunks clenched his fists tightly, and his heart was filled with strong fighting intent. Not only him, but also Son Goku next to him was stimulated. After all, Vegeta's current improvement is beyond doubt, and they don't even have any possibility of refuting it. Chapter 359 Dark Blue Vegeta vs Pink Black Goku. Bupa. 35. At this time, Beerus walked to the area where Bupa was, and asked with a curious expression, what is the situation with you? Vegeta's basic combat power has increased so much at once, and it has not borrowed the existence of time houses, which is completely unbelievable. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and Trunks in the distance also subconsciously looked at where Bupa was. Son Goku knew that Vegeta's ascension was due to Bupa's guidance. At this moment, Trunks also vaguely felt how great the value of this matter itself was to him. After all, Vegeta was his father. Since the latter can reach such a point under Bupa's guidance, can it be done by himself? Simple. Glancing at Beerus, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose and said, I sealed his power and allowed him to maintain the attitude of an ordinary person for more than half a year. 35. Broly and I have been his opponents for the better part of a year, and have launched deadly attacks on him every moment. Over the years, Vegeta has exceeded its limits countless times. Because of this, after I released the seal in his body, his power has soared to such a level. Hiss. After listening to Bupa's story, Beerus, Son Goku and Trunks couldn't help but gasp. The sealing force becomes an ordinary person, and every moment encounters a fatal attack. What a dangerous way to cultivate. This is completely a life-threatening posture, and even there is no possibility of any resistance at all. Under such circumstances, it does not seem unacceptable that Vegeta can be promoted to such a level. After all, such a high-intensity, no, almost perverted cultivation method is completely unbearable for ordinary people. Ruthless, or you are ruthless. Opening his mouth, Beerus subconsciously sighed. Now, he has to admit that compared to Bupa's targeting of Vegeta's practice, there is absolutely no comparability. Although they let Son Goku and others enter the dimensional space to practice, it was considered extremely dangerous. But with Son Goku and the others turning into Super Saiyans, the dangers in it are nothing. But Bupa actually sealed him as an ordinary person, and even kept him on the verge of life and death at all times, which is completely incomparable. Basic operation. Looking at Beerus, Bupa replied indifferently, although it looks dangerous, I can only support it with a foundation of millions of fairy beans in my hand. Vegeta, Frieza, and Azer couldn't have lasted this long if they didn't have enough fairy beans. And Saiyan is a dangerous race. The greater the crisis, the greater the promotion of Saiyan. It's surprising, but within my expectations, that Vegeta has reached such a level. Hearing this, Beerus nodded thoughtfully. Saiyan's talent is indeed a bit appalling. Even he has to admit that it is strong enough. Likewise, not far away are Son Goku and Trunks musing. Crisis and opportunity coexist. In addition, Bupa holds millions of fairy beans, and he does have this willful qualification. At this moment, a scream resounded in the air. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Vegeta's body has been cut with blood at this moment. Although he had already reached the 11th rank of combat power before, he was still a bit far behind the Black Goku after all. In addition, Black Goku has gradually adapted to Vegeta's attacking rhythm for so long, and has begun to counterattack gradually at this moment. Not good. Dad. Seeing this, the expressions of Son Goku, Trunks and others changed slightly. After all, in such a situation, once Vegeta is injured, a lot of the situation may be reversed. No need to worry. However, the expressions of Bupa and Beerus at the moment were extremely indifferent. With the eyesight of the two of them, it is natural to see that Vegeta's injuries are indeed not good. But in essence, it hasn't hurt the vital point, and even it only looks serious on the surface. In fact, Vegeta has already avoided the fatal point of this blow. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately scolded, Vegeta, go all out. 35. Now you are not qualified to keep your hand, you should be familiar with the current power after such a long time. As soon as these words came out, Vegeta was instantly refreshed in midair. He understood what Bupa was referring to, and he was more familiar with his own power. If it continues like this, it is very likely that the opponent will seize the opportunity to launch a fatal counterattack. I see, Lord Bupa. With a promise, Vegeta quickly adjusted her state and mind. With a low growl, Vegeta immediately activated the dark blue mode. With the brilliance of dark blue, his combat power soared to the mid-level 11. In such a situation, Vegeta's power is on a par with Black Goku. Come on. 35. With a loud shout, Vegeta attacked Black Goku without hesitation. In the next second, the two figures immediately fought together in midair. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. A deafening roar resounded, and Vegeta and Black Goku fought together again. Unlike before, Vegeta, who went all out this time, completely suppressed Black Goku. Even under the steady stream of attacks, the aura around Vegeta continued to improve. Obviously, his potential has not been fully tapped. The strength accumulated in the past half a year of cultivation has not been completely exploded. So strong. What a horrible volatility. It's much stronger than before. Neurozao. Seeing this, Son Goku on the ground, Trunks subconsciously exclaimed, although it has long been known that Vegeta is strong, it is still unexpected for them to be able to suppress Black Goku so madly. Damn slave. 35. The swearing in his mouth continued, and the Black Goku's complexion became blue at the moment. He also already felt that he couldn't suppress Vegeta, and even when the latter became more and more brave, he had no resistance at all. Under such circumstances, if he can't beat Vegeta, he knows all too well what awaits him. For a time, Black Goku kept waving the chi blade in his hand and said angrily, how is that possible? You're just a little guy behind Son Goku. How could you possibly have such power? How can there be anything beyond Son Goku within Saiyan? I don't believe it. I never believe it. Chapter 360 Vegeta's Solo Show, Whis returns. At this moment, Goku's inner emotions completely exploded. Unexpectedly, Vegeta could have such abilities. This is absolutely huge bad news for him. Once he fails, he really has no way out. He doesn't think he can be Beerus' opponent. If he really kills him, then nothing is impossible. On the ground, Vegeta glanced at Black Goku indifferently, although he was quite surprised at the power he had now in his heart at the moment. But Vegeta is also very clear that all this is the power that he has cultivated, and it does not belong to the strict existence. The main thing is that he has seen the opportunity to defeat Black Goku at this moment. Although the guy in front of him is not Son Goku, he is exactly the same as Son Goku after all, which makes him extremely happy. Without any hesitation, Vegeta attacked Black Goku again without hesitation, and snorted, "Now, accept your defeat." Damn it! The crisis struck, and Black Goku's face changed drastically at this moment. He could clearly feel Vegeta's intention to kill 297 himself, and he knew better that the latter would never let him go. Without caring about anything else, Black Goku quickly adjusted his emotions, and then directly fought with him. Rumbling, rumbling, the deafening roar resounded continuously, and the battle between Vegeta and Black Goku entered the white-hot stage again at this moment. But this time, the situation of Black Goku is getting worse. Vegeta, who was already strong, was suppressing it directly and completely with the continuous explosion of her own power at this moment. As time passed, it could be clearly seen that the injuries on Kuragoku became more and more obvious. Even in a short period of time, a lot of fist marks and bloodstains appeared all over Black Goku. Obviously, it is difficult for the latter to recover in a short period of time, and even in such a situation, Black Goku's own injury has become more and more serious. Possible. Really great to beat that guy. On the ground, Trunks was thrilled. He is the happiest existence for the current situation. After all, what Black Goku has caused in the future world is extremely serious. Now the latter has been suppressed by Vegeta, and there is even a complete hope of killing him directly here, which is definitely a good thing for him. Is that so? However, Beerus frowned, not very happy with the power that Black Goku is showing right now. After all, although the latter has surpassed the power of gods of destruction, it is still not powerful in a sense. But judging from the fact that the latter can kill so many gods in the future, this should not only be his limit. Bupa. Subconsciously, Beerus looked at Bupa beside him and asked, "What do you think about this matter? Does this guy really have no stronger power?" Hearing this, Bupa gave Beerus a surprised look. To be honest, he really didn't expect the latter to see the potential of Black Goku. But there is no doubt that the current Black Goku is the ultimate. At least he has not yet had any signs of completing the super race God White. And if nothing else, unless Black Goku and Zamasu fusion, otherwise it is impossible to reach the third stage of Super Saiyan. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, this should be his limit. If nothing else, that guy shouldn't have much potential. Of course, if he can push his own limits and reunite Supreme Kai and Super Saiyan, there is still the possibility of defeating Vegeta. Hearing this, Beerus nodded thoughtfully. He probably understood what Bupa was referring to, and he had seen it when Bupa showed the super white color. Thinking of this, Beerus' eyes flashed, and he said, if that's the case, then this guy won't have any chance of success. Exactly, after I have completely defeated him, I want to find out his true identity and origin. 99. At this moment, Beerus' eyes overflowed with murderous intent for this guy who will kill him in the future. He can't wait to slash him. It's just that the most important thing now is to figure out the identity information of the latter. Only in this way can we completely avoid future troubles. Da. At this moment, the sound of footsteps resounded quietly. Looking at the sound, we can see the figure of Whis returning. Along with Whis were Azer, Frieza, Son Goku, Broly and Bororian. It's just that the expressions of the five people are different at this moment. After appearing in the field area, their eyes immediately turned to Black Goku and Vegeta who were fighting together in midair. Tier 11 combat power. My dear, Vegeta's power has become so much stronger all at once. Who is that guy who is similar to Son Goku? How come he's so strong? How come I've never seen it before? 66.99. For a time, Son Goku and the others were talking, and their eyes were full of doubts and incomprehension. Not just them. Even at the moment, Whis also revealed a hint of surprise, looking at Vegeta in midair and said, Yo, Mr. Vegeta's strength has increased so much all of a sudden. It's more powerful than Mr. Son Goku, which is incredible. 35. As soon as these words came out, Broly and the others looked fine, but Son Goku's complexion also became extremely ugly. After all, in such a situation, Whis' praise of Vegeta is nothing, but Son Goku has also become a stepping stone. It seems that everyone needs to measure their own ultimate strength based on him, which is really a humiliating thing for him. But Son Goku has nothing to do. Whis and others will not care about his existence. Bupa and the others wouldn't care about his existence, and even his own strength was not as good as Vegeta, which was something that could not be argued. Master Bupa, brother. At this moment, Aize and the others came to their senses first, and without watching anything, they walked to the area beside Bupa. After bowing and saluting, Aize said excitedly, report to Master, I have successfully mastered it. Speaking of this, Aize was very excited. Free Omen. Although it is not a complete Ultra Instinct, it is a huge improvement for him. Chapter 361 Aize Unblocked. Zijin mode perfected. Not just Azer. Even Frieza's eyes are full of anticipation and excitement at the moment. Although he has not yet completed the cultivation of the ultimate sign of freedom, he already has a clue. Even if he is given a little time, then he has absolute certainty that he can completely grasp it. Well done. Nodding with satisfaction, Bupa glanced at Aize and said, I have successfully mastered this power. Since that's the case, then I don't need to suppress your power. Come here, I will help you lift the seal of your own power. Saying that, Aize's eyes also showed a hint of curiosity. You must know that Azer has cultivated his basic combat power with the assistance of Beerus before, to the level of 10th order. Now after so long of training, Azer's basic combat power is bound to become much stronger again. He is now quite looking forward to how big Aize's improvement will be this time. After all, the latter's improvement is also a big improvement for him. Yes, Master. With a promise, Aize was overjoyed. Without any hesitation, Aize quickly stepped forward and came to Bupa's side. Immediately afterwards, Aize no longer hesitated, and immediately said, Excuse me, Master. Aizen doesn't have much confidence in how much he can improve in the future. But after seeing Vegeta's situation, Azer was also extremely looking forward to it at the moment. The latter can improve so much combat power all at once, and then he is the first to complete the cultivation of the ultimate sign of freedom. If so, doesn't it mean that he will improve more than Vegeta? Thinking of this, Aize's inner anticipation became stronger and stronger, and even couldn't calm down for a long time. Not only him, including Frieza, Son Goku, Beerus and others at this moment are also looking at him. They also all wanted to see how much Azer's strength could improve after following Bupa's practice during this period. In this case, Bupa stepped forward and grabbed Azer's head. Broken. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa immediately activated the ability to completely break the prohibition in his body. At this moment, the aura around Aize began to recover rapidly. Ding. The bound character increases by 10 positive combat power to trigger 10 times the return. Congratulations to the host for increasing the positive combat power by 100. The sound of the system prompt resounded, and Bupa only felt a shock all over his body, and then the whole person's combat power increased by 100 positive. Not only that, with the 1000-fold blessing of the mysterious state of the super tournament, the 100 positive basic combat power has been increased by 1000 times again. In an instant, Bupa's basic combat power increased by a full 10. Very good, very good. Feeling his self-improvement, Bupa's eyes flashed, and the corners of his mouth rose, his eyes filled with satisfaction. 10 strength improvements, which is a good improvement for him. The most important thing is that all of these are obtained because of the tenfold return, rather than the need to cultivate hard. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes were locked on Aize in front of him, and he secretly said, System, check Aize's information. In the next second, Azer's information appeared in the area in front of him. Aize, race, frozen demon race, bloodline, ancient bloodline, combat strength, 11 positive. Transformation, silver mode, gold mode, platinum mode, purple gold mode. Ability, destruction energy cannon, destruction power. Loyalty, 100. Tier 11 basic combat power. The Zijin model has also been completed. After reading Aize's message, Bupa's eyes flashed with satisfaction. Judging from the current situation, the improvement of this Azer is huge, and even Vegeta is out of proportion. The most important thing is that he has completed the final transformation of the frozen demon race, purple gold mode. You must know that the platinum mode created by Aize before is not inferior to the Super Saiyan dark blue, and now he has mastered the purple gold mode. In a sense, the blessing of this transformed form is definitely not inferior to Super Saiyan white, or to the point of Super Saiyan 5. Now that Azer has reached such a level, it can be said that he has already possessed the combat power beyond the ordinary gods of destruction. Even in a sense, the current Azer should have mastered the possibility to compete with the 11th universe Jillian. At this moment, Azer let out a low growl. With the breath of his body swept out, the entire person's 11th order combat power swept the quartet. 0 for flowers 0. Tier 11 combat power. Early stage 11, 35. What a terrible rate of improvement. Seeing this, Son Goku and the others couldn't help exclaiming. At this moment, including Broly and others, they couldn't help but show a look of astonishment. After all, the latter's improvement this time was really huge. Even in a sense, his ascension is much stronger than Vegeta. Good. On the ground, Frieza was overjoyed at the moment. He quickly came to the area in the arena, looked at Aize's majestic appearance, and said excitedly, Aize, your improvement this time is really huge. Great, with such a level of power, you are no less than the average gods of destruction. You are worthy of being the son of my Frieza and the pride of my frozen demon race. Hearing this, Aize also woke up like a dream. Feeling his own strength, the corners of his mouth rose slightly and he was extremely satisfied. He really didn't think that he would improve so much this time. This was really unexpected news. Immediately afterwards, Azer seemed to have thought of something, turned to look at Bupa and said gratefully, Thank you, Lord Bupa. If it wasn't for the guidance and cultivation of Lord Bupa, I wouldn't be where I am today. 35. It doesn't have to be. With a wave of his hand, Bupa said indifferently, "You are my disciple, and it is only natural for you to point out. You don't need to have any other psychological pressure for this." "Yes." After agreeing, Aize didn't insist on anything. Immediately afterwards, Azer turned his head to look at Frieza and said, "Father, I did it. Although I haven't reached the strongest point yet, I will definitely try my best to continue to become stronger and become the most powerful existence of the frozen demon race, even surpassing the ancestors of the ancient times." Hearing this, Frieza nodded in satisfaction. After reaching out and patting Aize on the shoulder, he immediately said, "You are very satisfied that you can be a father with such determination. I also believe that you will be able to do this, but as a father, you still need to practice harder." Speaking of which, Frieza's eyes were full of determination for his own future. He is also looking forward to it and looking forward to it. Chapter 362 Thinking of Trunks, Black Goku loses. As soon as these words came out, Son Gohan's expression in the far area changed slightly. Not for anything else. Indeed, the conversation between Frieza and his son was rather jarring for him. It's not Son Gohan's glass heart, it's really that Frieza and Son Goku are completely two extremes when it comes to their offspring surpassing themselves. Even in such a situation, Son Gohan could clearly feel that Frieza was not speaking against his will. This also means that even the existence he despised the most, even the most angry and hated in the past, is far more than Son Goku in essence. It may be that Frieza's ambitions are unacceptable, but when it comes to parenting, there is no comparison. Brother Gohan. At this moment, a voice came. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Trunks hurriedly came to the area where Son 297 Gohan was, and said excitedly, "Brother Gohan, can you also complete the transformation of Super Saiyan God?" Trunks. Son Gohan was slightly taken aback when he saw the person coming. Immediately afterwards, he didn't refuse anything, and nodded immediately and said, "Yes, I can indeed transform into Super Saiyan God." Trunks, you ask this. Do you want to learn this transformation too? In Son Gohan's view, the purpose of Trunks' inquiry should be to learn Super Saiyan. After all, the latter is in the future world, and there are not enough Saiyans, so it is impossible to help him complete the transformation of the Super Saiyan state. "Yes." Nodding his head, Trunks didn't hide the slightest bit of cover, and said bluntly, "Brother Gohan, can you give me some pointers on my cultivation?" 35. Father said before that he could help me complete this kind of transformation, but I can clearly understand the seriousness of this matter. And I vaguely feel that this Super Saiyan God's transformation seems to be different, but I can't say what the difference is. As soon as these words came out, Son Gohan's admiration was immediately aroused. Even Trunks will not be able to transform into a Super Race God, but he can also see such clues, which shows his own sharpness. Thinking of this, Son Gohan no longer hesitated, and said directly, "I can teach you about the transformation of Super Saiyan God. But if you want to transform into Super Saiyan Blue, or even Deep Blue, then you need to learn from Uncle Vegeta, and I don't do this kind of transformation. And if you want to complete the Super Saiyan God Blue, you must master the power of Gods of Destruction, which requires the approval of Gods of Destruction to learn." Approved by Gods of Destruction. Gods of Destruction Force. After listening to Son Gohan's remarks, Trunks was a little stunned for a while. He really didn't know all of this, and he didn't even have any concept at all. But now it seems that his guess is correct, that Josei God does have various forms, and the power is not the same. "Thank you, Brother Gohan." After a little pondering, Trunks came back to his senses, and then nodded without hesitation. Although Son Gohan can't point out anything directly, he also believes that the latter can teach himself well. Compared to Vegeta, Son Goku and others, the person he prefers to believe is Son Gohan. Actually, you have another option. Seeing this, Son Gohan hesitated for a moment, then focused his eyes on Trunks and said, "If you can get Lord Bupa's guidance, then you will become stronger." Uncle Vegeta was able to get to this point only because of the guidance of Lord Bupa. Even under such circumstances, Uncle Vegeta's power has surpassed the ordinary Gods of Destruction, and is definitely not an existence that ordinary people can match. Hearing this, Trunks was taken aback. Immediately afterwards, his gaze also subconsciously looked at where Bupa was. He didn't know Bupa, but he could see Vegeta's attitude towards Bupa before, but he didn't expect that even Son Gohan respected him so much, and even called him an adult. This is absolutely shocking. I see. After pondering for a while, Trunks calmed down, clasped his fists at Son Gohan, and walked to the area where Bupa was. "Master Bupa." Bowing in a salute, Trunks said with a serious expression, "I also asked the adults to guide me to cultivate and become stronger." Trunks. Seeing the figure in front of him, Bupa's eyes flashed, but at the moment there was a little more expectation in his heart. These Trunks are also protagonists in the future world. If they can be conquered, they will definitely be able to refresh a lot of rewards. But when he thought about what happened to Son Goku before, Bupa quickly calmed down and focused his eyes on Trunks and said, "If you want me to point you, this is what Son Gohan told you." 99. To be honest, it's nothing to point you, and it's not impossible to even help you become stronger quickly. But one thing, I will only point to those who submit to me and are absolutely loyal to me. If you can't do this, no one can let me instruct you to cultivate absolutely loyal. Hearing this, Trunks was slightly taken aback. This is really unexpected news for him. Son Goku hadn't told him these things before. Soon enough, Trunks was relieved. For nothing else, he knew that in order to get something, he had to give something. Although Bupa's words now make people feel a little hard to accept, but everything seems to be reasonable. For a moment, Trunks fell into silence. Bupa is not in a hurry. He needs absolute surrender from the other side, and if the Trunks can't do that, then there's no need for him to waste time with them. At this moment, a scream resounded through the sky. Looking at the reputation, 0.7 saw that the battle between the two figures above the sky has come to an end. Under such circumstances, Black Goku is obviously no longer Vegeta's opponent, and even the injuries on his body have become more and more serious. Instead, Vegeta, at this moment, the more he fights, the more courageous he is, and even the strength of his whole body has obviously increased to a certain extent at this moment. It's going to be successful. That Black Goku couldn't hold on anymore. 55. Seeing this, Trunks and the others on the ground suddenly shouted in surprise, especially Trunks. He was extremely happy that Vegeta was able to defeat Black Goku, and he couldn't even hide his excitement. Even at this moment, Trunks wasn't thinking about turning into a superhero, and he was more looking forward to the situation in front of him. Chapter 363 Zamasu's Rescue. Black Goku escapes. Damn, get away from me. Black Goku's roar resounded through the sky. With the terrifying force swept out, Vegeta was caught off guard and flew out. The next second, it can be seen that the Black Goku has a special brilliance around it, and a huge vortex quietly emerges to cover it. What's the situation? What happened? Seeing this situation, everyone present was dumbfounded, including Beerus is no exception. This sudden change is simply shocking, even a little unbelievable. For nothing else, the change in the current situation is too unbelievable. It was obvious that Vegeta was about to win. Why did such a reversal happen all of a sudden? The most important thing is that the dark vortex wrapped the Black Goku, which seemed to block all attacks, and even Vegeta could no longer pose a threat to it. Not right. It's so wrong. Looking at each other, Aize and the others were full of doubts, wondering why the sudden change in front of them was. 20. Whis. At this time, Beerus said quietly, "What the hell is going on here?" As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes also subconsciously looked at where Whis was, including Bupa is no exception. He vaguely felt that this power came from the power of time and space, but this power is logically controlled by Angel. But apparently Whis didn't do anything about it before, so what's going on? The power of the Ring of Time. 35. Facing the gazes of the crowd, Whis pondered for a while, then quickly made a decision and said, "There is another Supreme Kai helping him." The power of this Supreme Kai is almost identical to his, which also causes the hidden power of the Ring of Time to be activated. Under such circumstances, if the guy in front of him wants to leave, even I can't stop it. What? Another Supreme Kai? Hearing this, Beerus and the others were dumbfounded. In addition to Black Goku, there is another Supreme Kai hiding in the dark. And that Supreme Kai is secretly trying to save the Black Goku, which is definitely something they will not allow to happen. Especially Beerus. At this moment, he was extremely impatient, and the whole person stood up and gritted his teeth. "Damn it, you want to escape from under my nose? Do you really think I don't exist?" As he spoke, Beerus no longer hesitated, raising his hand, a mass of destructive energy flew out immediately, and attacked Black Goku without hesitation. The previous Beerus wanted to capture the Black Goku, so as to get the information from the latter's mouth. But now the latter actually wants to escape, which is absolutely not allowed by him, and naturally he will not show mercy. However, the reality is cruel. As the destructive energy approached, the black vortex vibrated quietly. Immediately afterwards, the power of space swept out, and the destructive energy was completely transferred out. At this moment, Goku sighed in relief. After ensuring his own safety, his eyes locked on Beerus, and the corners of his mouth raised. "Beerus, you can't help me. Beerus, you can't kill me either." 35. Beerus, I finally won this time. 35. Saying that, the ring of time in the hands of Black Goku is bright, and it has begun to echo Zamasu in the future world. Zamasu? It actually appeared at this time. The time ring actually has such an effect. Bupa took a panoramic view of the scene, and nodded thoughtfully. At this moment, he roughly understood what was going on. If nothing else, Zamasu saved Goku, but he was completely exposed. After all, unlike Black Goku, it combines Supreme Kai power and Super Saiyan power, thereby concealing the perception and inspection of Beerus and Whis. Under the current circumstances, if Zamasu personally rescued Black Goku, his aura would also be exposed, so Whis and Beerus would not hesitate. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he secretly said, "It seems that the butterfly effect has happened again." Zamasu's exposure logically happened after the match between the 7th universe and 10th universe. But it has been revealed so quickly now that the exhibitions of the 7th universe and 10th universe have not yet been held, so it can be seen that the progress of this entire universe conference is likely to be delayed again. However, this is also good news for me. As long as there is enough time, then I can wait for the recovery of Super Dragon Ball, and then, at this moment, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and his inner emotions were quite happy. Damn bastard, you give me death. At this moment, Vegeta's angry roar resounded on the ground. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that he has stood up, raised his hand, and countless Kaigong bullets are swept out under the control of Vegeta, and the target is directly at the Black Goku. However, the reality is cruel. Even if Beerus' attack was blocked, how could Vegeta's attack be a threat to Black Goku? Rumbling, a deafening roar resounded, and one could clearly see the countless traces of Kaigong bombs exploded and turned into pieces. But the power of these Kaigong 297 bombs all avoided the Black Goku's location, and there was no possibility of affecting him at all. Casting a glance at Vegeta who attacked him, Black Goku's eyes flashed with murderous intent, but he was soon covered up by him. Although I don't want to admit it, I have to say that Vegeta does have a combat power that surpasses him, which makes Black Goku extremely dissatisfied. After all, he seized Son Goku's body before because the latter was the most powerful fighter. But now it has become like this. Doesn't that mean that his own body seizure was a wrong choice? Thinking of this, Black Goku's eyes swept across the audience subconsciously, and finally gathered on the Trunks on the ground, muttering, "Trunks, I'll wait for you to come back and die. If you don't come back, then I will completely kill all the human beings in the future world." 35. After finishing speaking, Black Goku didn't stay any longer, and directly urged the time ring to start running. Although there is a support from Zamasu, but he didn't have much of a chance to compete with Whis. That's Angel, and it is an extremely powerful existence with an Angel. Once he cracks the power of the time ring, then the Black Goku really has no possibility of escaping. Zizi. In the next second, the space was distorted, and it could be seen that the figure of Black Goku disappeared directly from the place. Chapter 364 Locking Zamasu. Bupa breaks the key. Gone. He left. It was not until the figure and breath of Black Goku completely disappeared that everyone present woke up like a dream. After looking at each other, Vegeta's complexion immediately darkened, and he clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Damn it, you just escaped like this, what a coward. At this moment, there is also Trunks with an ugly face. Recalling what Kuro Goku said before he left, his whole person was completely bad. After all, if he really didn't go back, the Black Goku would probably completely wipe out the humans in the future world. Damn, that guy is really arrogant. 66.99. For a time, Azer, Frieza and others also followed suit. They were extremely unhappy with the latter's almost escaping behavior. However, they couldn't stop anything. After all, the reason that Black Goku left was because of the time ring, and that thing belonged to the Supreme Kai that could only master it, not the existence that they could get involved in. Thinking of this, everyone's eyes flashed with unwillingness. For nothing else, they came this time to play against the Black Goku to test the limit of their current strength. Now that Black Goku is gone, the possibility of them wanting to fight with him is completely gone. Wise. At this time, Beerus' voice resounded with some anger, but the information about that guy has been found out. As Bupa thought, although the Black Goku escaped, but Zamasu's shot also caused the breath of his own power to be captured. So, in this case, Zamasu's exposure is a foregone conclusion. Yes, Lord Beerus. With a slight smile, Whis' eyes locked on Beerus, and then he said, "It's almost certain that that person is indeed Supreme Kai. It's just that he is not the Supreme Kai of the 12th universe, but only the Supreme Kai of the 10th universe. If nothing else, that person is likely to be the Supreme Kai of the 10th universe in the near future. As for why he attacked everyone in the 7th universe, or even helped the Black Goku, we don't know yet." 39. 10th universe. Supreme Kai alternate. After listening to Whis' remarks, Beerus' eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he immediately said, "Kvass." 35. This guy has raised such a bastard. 9. A mere Supreme Kai candidate can cause such abuses and scourges. 35. It seems that we have to go to the 10th universe to find Kvass. Such drawbacks must be solved as soon as possible. As soon as these words came out, they immediately aroused the approval of everyone present. Although I don't know the origin of Zamasu's identity, it can be seen from the fact that he helped Black Goku to leave, but it can be seen that the relationship between the two is definitely not a good relationship. The most important thing is that since Zamasu is a collaborator of the Black Goku, does that mean that he will also know the information of the Black Goku? Thinking of this, Son Goku in the crowd couldn't help it. He stepped forward and said, "Master Beerus, can you take me with you? I also want to see who the guy who can work with Black Goku is. And I want to see where the guy who looks so much like me came from!" 35. As soon as these words came out, Frieza, Azer, Beliolian and others all looked at Beerus subconsciously. Now the Black Goku has escaped. This also means that their purpose of coming here this time has failed, and even continuing to stay has little meaning. On the contrary, The Supreme Kai candidate of the 10th universe is a very good information, and they can take this opportunity to find the Black Goku in this era. Looking at Son Goku, Beerus immediately nodded and said, "It just so happens that I also have a question that needs to be answered." Son Goku, you and I and Whis head to the 10th universe to meet Kvass. As for the rest. 55. Having said this, Beerus turned his gaze to Trunks. And then continued, "I hope that there will be no people who violate the rules of time in the 7th universe before the god returns again." 35. As soon as these words came out, Trunks and Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief. Beerus' remarks seemed to be rude, but in fact, they also express the meaning of letting go of Trunks this time. Thinking of this, Vegeta immediately clasped her fists and said, "Thank you, Lord Beerus. We'll send the Trunks away as soon as the time machine is repaired." After speaking, Vegeta clenched her fists. In his heart, he was even more determined to go to the future world after the time machine was repaired. At that time, the Black Goku and the Zamasu can be completely eliminated. As long as these two people are killed, the danger of the future world will be completely over. In this way, the situation is not too difficult for him to control. FK 35! Nodding, Beerus gave Vegeta a satisfied look. Immediately afterwards, he didn't hesitate, looked at Whis and said, "Whis, let's start." "Yes, Lord Beerus." As soon as he agreed, Whis no longer hesitated, waved his scepter, and a 7-colored radiance descended from the sky and enveloped Beerus and Son Goku. Immediately afterwards, 7 color beams shot up into the sky, and the 3 wise figures disappeared from the earth. Seeing this situation, Aize and the others were all relieved. Although Beerus has a good relationship with them, but after all, they are not at the same level, and the existence of the latter is still a little stressful. After Beerus left, Azer and the others quickly gathered in the area where Bupa was. Master Bupa, with a clasped fist, Frieza asked curiously, "Then Black Goku, okay. Do you have any information about him?" As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes also focused on Bupa. It was Bupa who didn't say anything before, but they could see it, and Bupa seemed to be quite familiar with the Black Goku information. Especially Vegeta. He even felt that Bupa seemed to know the Black Goku, otherwise it would be impossible to be so familiar with him. Information. Glancing at everyone, Bupa raised the corner of his mouth and said, "It's no big deal. Since you want to know, then I won't hide it. Didn't you feel familiar before?" Although the aura of Black Goku is the combination of Supreme Kai and Super Saiyan, the aura is special, but its essence cannot be changed. If you compare the breath of Son Goku's Super Saiyan transformation with that of the Black Goku, I believe you can also perceive it. 35. Chapter 365. The identity of the Black Goku is exposed. The impatient Vegeta father and son. Compare Son Goku. Hearing this, Aize and the others were stunned. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku's Super Saiyan form and Black Goku's pink form subconsciously appeared in their minds. His pupils shrank, and Son Gohan exclaimed, "That's my dad." As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Including Vegeta and others were also dumbfounded. According to Bupa, the auras of the two are almost identical. If so, doesn't that mean Son Goku is the Black Goku? But how is this possible? You know, Son Goku and Black Goku seem to be exactly the same, but in fact their personalities are completely different. If Black Goku is Son Goku, then why is he in the future world so evil? He even wants to destroy all mankind. Wrong. At this time, Vegeta calmed down first, took a deep breath and said, "If it's Kakarot, then he can't be just that little bit of ability. And I can clearly feel that although that guy's breath is similar to Kakarot, it is actually quite different. If I have to say it, then the Supreme Kai who introduced him after that seems to be closer to his 300 breath." As soon as these words came out, Aize and others frowned. Vegeta's words were firm, which had to be approved by them. But if that's the case, who the hell is Black Goku? What is his origin? Why does he have such characteristics? Master. Subconsciously, Aize's eyes followed Bupa and asked, "I dare to ask Master, what is going on in this matter?" As soon as these words came out, Broly and others also looked at Bupa curiously. By now, they were also a little confused, and in such a situation, the only way seemed to be for Bupa to explain what was going on. Simple. In this regard, Bupa smiled lightly, looked at a few people and then said, "Because that guy is the Supreme Kai of the future world. It's just that this guy stole Son Goku's body. It was because he stole Son Goku's body that he was able to master such combat power." What? That man is Supreme Kai, and also steals Son Goku's body. Hearing Bupa's words, everyone was stunned, including Vegeta who is no exception. Never imagined that the result of this matter would be so bloody. Taking Son Goku's body. Is this something Supreme Kai can do? Most importantly, how could this be done? Stealing Son Goku's body. Could it be? Then Supreme Kai also has special abilities like Jinyu? Subconsciously, Vegeta asked. As far as he knows, the only way to take other people's bodies seems to be Jinyu's ability. It really is. That guy Jinyu does have a similar ability. Frieza also nodded thoughtfully at the moment. He probably knew all about Jinyu's situation, and he knew better that the latter had the ability to take other people's bodies. but Jinu's ability seems to be limited to some extent. But that Supreme Kai was able to take Son Goku's body, and even play it to such a degree, that its own power would only be more terrifying. No. Shaking his head, Bupa said indifferently. The Supreme Kai doesn't have such abilities. Jinu's abilities are extremely special and rare in the entire universe, so it is impossible for him to master similar means. The reason why I was able to get Son Goku's body is not surprisingly because the latter used the Super Dragon Ball to complete it. Super Dragon Ball. Hearing this, Vegeta and the others were all stunned. Immediately afterwards, the faces of each of them became serious. Super Shenron. That is the treasure that only exists in the 6th universe and the 7th universe. If the Supreme Kai of the future world masters its existence, it will not only take Son Goku's body, but also do many other special things. Thinking of this, everyone's face became heavy, especially Vegeta. His fists clenched at the moment. Damn, if this is the case, doesn't it mean that the Black Goku and the Supreme Kai will be more difficult to deal with? Dad tilde apostrophe. Seeing this, Trunks on the side was a little stunned, and subconsciously looked at Vegeta and said, "Why do you speak like this?" 35. Is there really any big drawback? Is the Super Shenron so powerful? Trunks know nothing about the Super Shenron, nor its value and capabilities. Certainly. Glancing at Trunks, Vegeta said with a solemn expression, Super Dragon Ball is the most powerful Shenron, and can fulfill all wishes. If you make a wish on this Super Dragon Ball, let alone taking Son Goku's body, it's not difficult to get an immortal body or even more special abilities. In addition, the Black Goku has been brought back to the future world. I am afraid that he will soon use the power of the Super Dragon Ball to increase his own power, and I will not be able to suppress him at that time. 5. Speaking of which, Vegeta clenched her fists tightly, her eyes full of unwillingness and suffocation. After all, under such circumstances, the change of things is definitely not good news for him. Not even good news for Trunks. How could this be? Not surprisingly, Trunks, who knew the seriousness of the matter, was completely panicked at the moment. The original Black Goku was already extremely difficult to deal with, and now such a thing has happened again, which is definitely not good news. Once Black Goku continues to be strong, Vegeta won't even be an opponent at that time. If this is the case, then if you return to the future world, then, Master Bupa. At this time, Vegeta quickly came to the area where Bupa was, and said impatiently, I dare to ask your lord, can we go to the future world now? Can. Glancing at Vegeta, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose and said, but the repair of the time machine shouldn't be something that can be done overnight. And the most important thing is that your son Trunks is still too weak. You are not necessarily an opponent of Black Goku. Even going to the future world is meaningless. So, the most important thing now is to improve the ability of Trunks, as well as your combat power. The most important thing is that the time machine can only slack 3 or 4 people, so you must find a strong enough helper. Chapter 366 Trunks Surrender, Magic Skill, Destruction. Helper. Hearing this, Vegeta nodded thoughtfully. As Bupa said, Black Goku can barely suppress him now, but the other side still has helpers. Just like the Supreme Kai who rescued him before, if he encounters him in the future world, how should he deal with it? Subconsciously, Vegeta looked at Broly, Bororian, Son Gohan and others in the arena. Uncle Vegeta. At this time, Son Gohan stepped forward and said with a serious face, let me go together. I also want to meet the guy who sees the future world. Taking my father's body to do evil, I absolutely do not allow this. Gohan. Seeing Son Gohan come forward, Vegeta's eyes flashed with emotion. Although Son Gohan may not be as strong as himself, Vegeta doesn't think the latter is weak. If it is to let him face the Supreme Kai, it still seems possible and certain. Thinking of this, Vegeta looked at Bupa and said, Lord Bupa, I have an unkind request. 99. I want grown-ups to train Trunks. At this moment, Vegeta looked extremely serious. He knows very well that it is very difficult for Trunks to quickly become stronger under the current situation. But it's not impossible for the Trunks to quickly become stronger if Bupa is coaching. So, the best thing to look for now is to get Trunks' follower Bupa to practice. Glancing at Vegeta, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and then he said slowly, I can instruct him to practice. But you are also very clear about the conditions for me to instruct people to cultivate. If he can accept this, or even truly surrender, then I can indeed help him become stronger quickly. On the contrary, if he is not sincere, then I have no need or possibility to help him. As soon as these words came out, Vegeta nodded immediately. He knew exactly what Bupa's rules were, especially after Son Goku's attempt to deceive was rejected before. He is more aware that it is not just casual words that can persuade Bupa to point the other side. Thinking of this, Vegeta turned to look at where Trunks was and said, Trunks, are you willing to surrender to Lord Bupa? Only Mr. Bupa can quickly help you become stronger, and only his guidance can make you stronger quickly, and even have the ability to protect the future world. Surrender to Bupa. Total allegiance. Hearing this, Trunks subconsciously looked at where Bupa was, with the words Son Gohan said before, and the serious expression on Vegeta's face at this moment. He already knew that this matter was absolutely true. It's a little weird, but he's more willing to trust the judgments of Son Goku and Vegeta. Thinking of this, Trunks' heart immediately became firm. His eyes locked on the area where Bupa was, and he stepped forward. Sir, Trunks is willing to swear allegiance to you. From now on, Trunks will obey your lord, and I hope you will accept my allegiance. Ding. The character Trunks is loyal to you. Is the host bound? The system prompt sounded quietly coming. Hearing this voice, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose. However, with Son Goku's lessons learned, Bupa did not rashly agree, but chose to check Trunks' loyalty to himself. In the next second, Trunks' message appeared in front of his eyes. Trunks, race, hybrid Saiyan, bloodline, royal family, combat strength, late stage 5, transformation, Super Saiyan 2, ability, Kamehameha wave, magic flash, final flash, loyalty, 96, good guy, 96 loyalty. Trunks is still very good. After reading Trunks' message, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, revealing a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. Although his combat power is a little worse, even in the current situation, it is hardly considered powerful. However, there is no problem with its loyalty, and even once it is agreed to bind, it can completely refresh its own rewards by taking this opportunity. And compared to Vegeta, it is only a little bit short of loyalty to reach 100, so brushing the loyalty of Trunks is the easiest thing. Trunks can almost reach 100 loyalty as long as the threat of the future world is solved. Bind. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa quickly made his own choice and judgment. Zero ask for flowers 0. Ding. Successfully bind the protagonist Trunks to trigger 10 times the return ability. 55. Ding. Bound character Trunks loyalty to you reaches 90. Trigger the reward to congratulate the host on getting destruction. Destroy. It is the ability of gods of destruction. Raising his brows, Bupa's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He really didn't think about it. This time he actually got the destruction skill as a reward. You must know that this destruction skill does not seem to be very good, but it actually touches the boundaries of the rules. It can be said that after mastering this destructive skill, some means similar to the immortal body are easily erased for him. The combined Zamasu to be dealt with after the union, Bupa couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly at the moment, and murmured, "This is really timely." 35. With this ability, it will be much easier to deal with those guys with immortal bodies in the future. Thinking of this, Bupa raised his head to look at Trunks and said, "Very well, since you surrendered to me, then I will naturally instruct you to cultivate Vegeta, Bororian, Son Goku. The three of you come with me, and when you go back, find Son Goku and the little Trunks, and with their powers, they can help the Trunks complete the breakthrough of the Super Saiyan God." 99. Do you know how long it will take to restore the time machine? As soon as these words came out, Vegeta and the others were overjoyed. Bupa accepted the allegiance of Trunks, which means that he will really instruct each other to practice. As a result, the Trunks will quickly become stronger, which is good news for them. 3 days. 9. At this time, Trunks stepped forward and said, according to the previous experience, as long as the time machine is repaired and the fuel for the time machine is stored, it will take about 3 days to complete. 3 days. Nodding thoughtfully, Bupa looked at Trunks and said, "If so, then move faster. After you complete the transformation of the Super Saiyan God, I will take you into the time house to practice for 3 days. These 3 days are enough to raise your strength to rank 8, or even rank 9. In this way, after eliminating the Black Goku and others in the future world, your existence is enough to protect the entire universe." 7. Chapter 367 Bupa's Layout. Shelter Universe. Hearing this, Trunks' breathing was quickened instantly. He didn't know what Tier 8 and Tier 9 combat power represented, but since Bupa said so, it also means that the power of this level is strong enough. "Thank you, Lord Bupa." Without any hesitation, Trunks bowed and saluted, his eyes full of excitement. Not only him, but also Vegeta and others on the side were very excited. Tier 8 and 9 combat power. This may not be much to them, but it is enough for the Trunks of the future. In addition, the gods of destruction in the future world has died, and even Angel has fallen into a deep sleep. This also means that as long as Trunks can kill the existence of Black Goku and Zamasu, he will be invincible in the 7th universe in the future world. Thinking of this, every 300 person has a smile on his face, especially Vegeta, who said directly at this moment, "If so, then let's not waste time. Gohan, you go and see Son Goku over, I'll find the little Trunks." "Okay, Uncle Vegeta." With a promise, Son Goku refused nothing. Immediately afterwards, the two figures no longer hesitated, and quickly left the place and began to act. "Brother." After they left, Broly quickly came to the area beside Bupa. Immediately afterwards, Broly said with some anticipation, "Can I also go to the future world with me?" The guy before is quite good. If he can fight with him, it will definitely help me grow rapidly. 5. As soon as these words came out, not far away, Bororian, Azer and Frieza also looked towards Bupa. To be honest, they are also looking forward to going to the future world. The power shown by Black Goku makes them yearn for a fight, not to mention Zamasu, who has yet to show up. The latter can take people away from Whis and Beerus, which makes Azer and others feel extremely powerful. In this regard, Bupa refused without hesitation. The time machine could only take about 4 people, which meant that apart from Trunks, Son Goku and Trunks, only Bupa could go. If Broly also wanted to go, then the light machine was obviously unable to take the rhythm. The most important thing is that once Broly goes, Azer and others want to go there too. Although the time machine is still in Bulma's hand, if a group of people go there, it will also cause huge hidden dangers. Once it caught the attention of Zeno in the future world, the consequences would be absolutely unimaginable. Thinking of this, Bupa said immediately, "The time machine can only take 4 people, and there are not enough people if you go." Hearing this, Broly's eyes flashed with disappointment. But he couldn't refute anything. After all, Vegeta had already agreed that the 3 of them would go. In this way, it is impossible for Broly and others to snatch Son Goku's seat. Master. At this time, Aize stepped forward and said, "Master, I have completed the cultivation of the ultimate sign of freedom. How should I continue to cultivate?" As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Bupa curiously. Except for Broly, who has learned Ultra Instinct. Even Broly has not yet mastered the sense of freedom. "Just continue to practice as I instructed." With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at Aize and said, "Practice makes perfect in order to complete Ultra Instinct." 35. You have only just mastered the ultimate omens of freedom, and then you just need to continue to use him, or even find him to fight to perfection. 39. Well, then you will practice with Broly, Bulma and Frieza. Broly can point at the side. The point is that Frieza and Bulma attack you, and you can fight against them with your free omen, so you can quickly improve. In addition, with the help of your battle, Frieza and Bulma can also try to grasp the omens of freedom as soon as possible. Yes. 35. Hearing this, Aize suddenly nodded, his eyes full of anticipation. Frieza was no match for him, but Bulma was strong enough. Moreover, Bulma has not yet mastered the sense of freedom, which also means that the gap between the 2 sides is not too big. In this way, he can also use the pressure given by Bulma to quickly become stronger. No problem. Just do it. At the same time, Frieza and Bulma are also nodding at the moment. Especially Bulma. Although he has been practicing with Whis for so long, he has not completely perfected Ultra Instinct. If he can have half a Aize as an opponent to practice cultivation, it will also be a huge improvement for him. Thinking of this, Bulma is also full of fighting spirit at the moment. Only Broly, although he is not reconciled, he also understands that things cannot be disobeyed. The Trunks in the side area were thoughtful. Ultra Instinct. Although I don't know what it is, it can make Aize and others care so much, and even rush to it. He can be sure that it is definitely a powerful means. But now he has no ability to cultivate, but he has some expectations in his heart. If you become stronger, can you also cultivate the so-called ultimate freedom? Call out. Call out. At this time, several air-breaking sounds came. Looking at the sound, I could see Vegeta, Little Trunks, Son Goku and Son Goten hurriedly approaching. Soon, several figures appeared in the area of the field. Master Bupa. Floating to the ground, Vegeta and the others all bowed and saluted. Nodding his head, Bupa glanced at Vegeta and the others, and then said, "Since everyone has arrived, let's start. With your current basic combat power, once you help Trunks complete the Super Ace God, his basic combat power can also increase rapidly." Yes. 0.7 inches. Yes. With a promise, Vegeta, Son Goku and Bbook even had a flash of anticipation in their eyes. You must know that Super Saiyan is to transfer the potential of the 5 people into the other's body for strengthening. Now they have become much stronger, and even a large part of their potential has been developed, and I don't know if they can make Trunks stronger quickly. Immediately, a group of people did not hesitate, and quickly stepped forward to surround the Trunks. Begin. 35. Following Vegeta's order, Son Goku and the others immediately transferred the power of their hearts to Trunks' body. Buzz. For a while, the humming sound continued. You can clearly see a red beam of light rising straight into the sky. With the transfer of the potential of the 5 people, the combat power of the Trunks in it also began to soar rapidly at this moment. Chapter 368. The Terrifying Super Ace God Promotion. 9th Order Combat Power. It's done. The combat power has increased so quickly. 35. Seeing this situation, Aize, Frieza and others in the area on the side couldn't help exclaiming. Although their combat power had increased extremely rapidly before, everyone could see that this was not something that could be accomplished overnight. The most important thing is that this is just an enhancement to complete the Super Ace God transformation. Trunks will even get stronger if given some time. After all, in the current situation, Trunks has gathered the blessings of the potential of the 5 Bbook. In the next period of time, as long as he can cultivate well, he can reach the point that Bupa said in a short period of time. 1000, 35, 10, 166.99. Watching Trunks' own aura grow, Bupa is also constantly starting to calculate. This still hasn't completed the enhancement of Super Saiyan's transformation, which also means that all this is the basic combat power of Trunks. Now that it has reached the level of 720, it is conceivable how huge the potential of the 5 Blue Alien people is. Buzz. At this moment, a humming sound resounded quietly. As the crimson radiance dissipated, it could be clearly seen that the Trunks in the field area had completed the transformation of the Super Saiyan God. At this moment, the breath of Trunks increased rapidly, soaring from the original 500 Z. In just a few breaths, the Trunks' combat power reached the level of 2 grooves. Just by perfecting the Super Saiyan God, the combat power of Trunks has entered the stage of the early stage of the 9th order. Incredible. It actually improved so much all of a sudden. Opening their mouths, Vegeta and the others all sighed subconsciously. Although their combat power has skyrocketed after completing the Super Saiyan God, at most they have reached more than 7th rank. Even Son Goku looked like he had reached rank 8 when he died. But what about now? After Trunks completed the transformation of Super Saiyan God, he reached such a level directly. This is simply incredible. Even if it is only a transformed form, the combat power in the early stage of the 9th order is also a shocking existence. So strong. Is this my power now? Super Ace God, he is really so powerful. At the same time, Trunks also regained his senses as if he had just woken up from a dream. After feeling the turbulent aura fluctuations in his body, he couldn't help being astonished. Too strong. He could totally feel the terrifying combat power of the 9th order early stage. Compared with the previous him, this is a completely different existence. Even unbelievable. Good. At this time, Bupa regained his senses first, stepped forward and said, "Your basic combat power has reached the late 7th rank. This is something I never thought of before. It shows how huge the energy you have accumulated in the future world." This time to complete the transformation of the Super Saiyan God, in addition to the potential blessings of the 5 Blue Alien people, the more important thing is to tap all the potential in your body. Under the current circumstances, after you have completed the transformation of the Super Ace God, you already have the combat power of the early stage of the 9th order, which can be said to be extremely powerful. However, this is still far from enough. You still need to work harder to cultivate, and strive to reach the level of your basic combat power to the 8th rank before returning to the future world. As soon as these words came out, Trunks woke up like a dream. Not feeling the joy in himself, he hurriedly bowed and saluted. "I know, Mr. Bupa. I will definitely work harder to cultivate my own strength and make myself stronger." 35. Seeing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. It has to be said that the mentality and attitude of Trunks in the future will definitely be recognized. It is precisely because of this that the potential and future of Trunks in the future are completely huge. According to the Doujin anime he saw in his previous life, Trunks will even become gods of destruction in the future, and it is also a big gods of destruction within gods of destruction. That is an existence that surpasses the gods of destruction, and is definitely not inferior to the existence of Xeno's god level. It can be said that the future of Trunks is extremely huge. As long as you give them a good guidance, the harvest is absolutely huge. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes turned to Vegeta and the others on the side and said, "Okay, since that's the case, then the next thing is left to you. Trunks, I will take him to practice in the time house. In the past few days, you are ready to go to the future world as soon as possible." "Yes." 35. Yes. With a promise, Vegeta nodded quickly. He is also extremely concerned about going to the future world, especially knowing that Zamasu might master Super Dragon Ball. He is also worried that Black Goku will go further. If Black Goku goes further, it's not an existence that Vegeta can deal with. Thinking of this, Vegeta immediately said, "Don't worry, Lord Bupa, I will prepare everything to go to the future world in 3 days. Nodding his head, Bupa no longer hesitated, and looked directly at Trunks beside him and said, "So, let's go." 99. After finishing speaking, Bupa reached out and grabbed Trunks' shoulders, and 300's thoughts directly activated instant transmission to take him away from here. Everyone seeing this situation, Aize in the area on the side was the first to speak. "Master has left, so we should continue to practice. It just so happens that Supreme Kai is also here, and we go straight back to the Supreme Kai world to practice." 99. It is good. Good. 39. Hearing this, Blue Alien and the others all that nodded. Since they can't go to the future world, it doesn't make any sense to stay here. So in this case, it is the best choice for them to leave here and go to Supreme Kai to practice. Immediately, a group of people stopped staying and left the place hurriedly following Supreme Kai. After everyone left, only Vegeta, Son Goku, Son Goten and the little Trunks were left on the field. After looking at each other, Vegeta said, "Trunks, please treat Goku and Goten first, and I'll go to your mother's place to see how the time machine is going." 39. Okay, Dad. With a promise, the little Trunks also understood the seriousness of the matter. At the same time, he already knew that the big Trunks was his grown-up self, so he didn't think much about it. Soon, Vegeta left, and Son Goku was dragged by Son Goten and Trunks to a nearby area to practice. Chapter 369 Arrival in the 10th Universe, ZamasuVS Son Goku. 10th Universe, Supreme Kai World. Call out. Call out. The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and the figures of Beerus, Whis and Son Goku arrived. "Lord Beerus, is this place?" Looking at the completely different Supreme Kai world in front of him, Son Goku asked in surprise. After all, judging from the current situation, he couldn't believe that the evil Black Goku would come from here. "Yes, this is the residence of Supreme Kai in 10th Universe." Looking at Son Goku, Beerus said with a serious face, "Son Goku, you can't speak freely next time. I'll let you test that Zamasu then, and destroy it if you're sure it's him." 35. "Yes, Lord Beerus." As soon as he agreed, Son Goku's expression became serious. After all, this matter is about the life and death of Beerus. If he dares to mess around, I am afraid that Beerus will not let him go. This is definitely not what Son Goku wants. After all, Son Goku has lost a lot of opportunities before this, and now he has a chance to perform without hesitation. If he gives up, the consequences will be unimaginable. Seeing this, Beerus nodded in satisfaction. Immediately afterwards, he looked at Whis and said, "Whis, let's go." 35. "Yes, Lord Beerus." With a promise, Whis did not hesitate, and immediately controlled the beam to the place where Kvass was. "Call out, add, call out." The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and the three figures of Whis quickly entered the residence where Kvass was. Master Beerus. Feeling the appearance of Beerus, Kvass, who was resting, was slightly taken aback. Immediately afterward, Kvass stood up from his seat with a strange expression. "Lord Beerus, why are you not in the 7th universe for my 10th universe?" As soon as these words came out, Zamasu in the area behind him also showed a trace of confusion. He is not very clear about the existence of Beerus, and he doesn't even know it. After all, because of Bupa, the entire universe conference has not yet been opened, and there is no competition between the 7th universe and the 10th universe. This also caused Zamasu to not know Son Goku and others, and naturally did not know the existence of each other. "It's nothing." With a wave of his hand, Beerus glanced at Kvass, then said, "I heard that there is a good Supreme Kai candidate in the 10th universe. Come and see." Supreme Kai alternate. "Well, Zamasu." Nodding thoughtfully, Kvass glanced at Zamasu behind him, and then said, "Zamasu, this is Lord Gods of Destruction Beerus of the 7th universe, so please don't hesitate to greet him." "Yes." With a promise, Zamasu stepped forward with a promise, clasped his fists at Beerus and said, "I have seen Lord Beerus." "You are Zamasu." Looking thoughtfully at Zamasu in front of him, Beerus' eyes flashed, and then he said, "I heard that you are the best Supreme Kai candidate in the 10th universe, but I don't think your strength is very strong. I don't know what you have learned from Kvass." Hearing this, Zamasu couldn't help but be taken aback. Strength. For Supreme Kai, he really hasn't thought about it. After all, the combat power in the 10th universe itself is not high, and it is the bottom of the 12th universe. Even as a Supreme Kai candidate, his combat power has actually surpassed many people. Master Beerus. At this time, Kvass stepped forward and said, "Zamasu is a Supreme Kai candidate, and his force is not fighting and strength, but fulfilling the duties of Supreme Kai." 35. Nodding his head, Beerus looked at the weak Zamasu in front of him, and then waved his hand. "Kvass, if that's the case, let one of my Saiyans compete with Zamasu. It just so happens that I'll see how your 10th universe Supreme Kai candidate is capable. If it's strong enough, then I'll let the 7th universe's Supreme Kai choose a stronger Supreme Kai candidate after I go back." Fighting? Hearing this, Kvass was dumbfounded. Never thought that Beerus would make such a request. Subconsciously, Kvass looked at Son Goku in the side area. Whis he knew. That was Angel, and one of the grandchildren of Grand Priest. The only one who doesn't know is Son Goku, who is obviously the person Beerus is referring to. "Lord Beerus, it's my pleasure." At this time, before Kvass could speak, Zamasu on the side was the first to agree. For his own strength, Zamasu is extremely confident and recognized. Because of this, he didn't even think that the mere humans could be his opponents. "It is good." Seeing this, the corners of Beerus' mouth rose. Zamasu himself agreed, and it was a complete success. All they have to do next is to be in a battle to determine whether the target they are looking for is the Zamasu in front of them. Thinking of this, Beerus turned his head to look at Son Goku and said, 66 Son Goku, you control your strength." "Yes, Lord Beerus." With a promise, Son Goku immediately understood what Beerus was referring to. For nothing else, the Zamasu in front of him is too weak. His combat power was at rank 6, even weaker than Son Goku, who had just completed the Super Saiyan God that year. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately stepped forward and said excitedly, "Zamasu, you can attack." "Nyan, human, you are arrogant." Hearing this, Zamasu got angry. He is a dignified Supreme Kai candidate, and the guy in front of him is just a human being, and he dares to say such words to himself, which is simply outrageous. However, thinking about the existence of Beerus, Kvass and the others in the side area, Zamasu did not attack. After all, he is only a Supreme Kai candidate. If he really reveals his good character, then it is absolutely impossible for Kvass to let him continue to inherit the Supreme Kai position. Not only that, including the existence of Beerus, the latter can easily kill himself. Thinking of this, Zamasu took a deep look at Son Goku and said, "If that's the case, then I'm welcome." Saying that, Zamasu raised his hand and immediately cast chi gathering into Blade's skin. What? Seeing this situation, Son Goku was taken aback for a moment, and there was a hint of disbelief in his eyes. Although many people know this method of gathering chi into a blade, Zamasu's method of gathering chi into a blade is exactly the same as the Black Goku he saw. Although Zamasu's method is not as good as that of Black Goku, it is obvious that this method is also somewhat unusual. Chance. However, Son Goku's absence was also noticed by Zamasu. Without any hesitation, Zamasu jumped out violently, waving the air blade in his hand and attacking Son Goku's heart. Chapter 370 Zamasu's Wrath, Beerus' Plan. So fast. Seeing this, Son Goku was not in a hurry. The strength gap between the two sides is really too big, which allows Son Goku to react at the first time even if he loses the opportunity. Without any hesitation, Son Goku dodged Zamasu's attack with a single dodge. Immediately after, Son Goku raised his hand and punched Zamasu in the face. Not good. When the crisis struck, Zamasu's face changed drastically. Without the slightest hesitation, Zamasu quickly retreated to avoid the attack from Son Goku. However, the reality is cruel. Son Goku's basic combat power has reached a level close to rank 8, while Zamasu's basic combat strength is only around rank 6, and there is no comparison at all. With a loud bang, Zamasu couldn't bear Son Goku's fist and was knocked out. He smashed to the ground violently, blood spilled from the corner of Zamasu's mouth, and the whole person's complexion was extremely gloomy at this moment. Seeing this, Son Goku was dumbfounded. It was completely unexpected that he defeated Zamasu without even making an effort. You know, if it was before, Son Goku would be happier. But this time his purpose was to test the Zamasu in front of him, and now the latter has not displayed all the power of 303. If this is over, then his mission can be considered a failure. If it fails, Son Goku knows that Beerus will be disappointed in him. That way, Son Goku would have no chance of turning to Beerus and Whis for help. Subconsciously, Son Goku said, "Are you alright? Am I pushing too hard?" Humanity. However, Son Goku's words completely stimulated Zamasu at this moment. He's a dignified Supreme Kai alternate. Now he was actually defeated by the human beings that he had always looked down on, and he was even injured. This is simply a shame, and this is definitely not a fact that Zamasu can accept. Without caring about anything else, Zamasu stood up abruptly from the ground, his hands gathered into a dazzling blade, and he attacked Son Goku without hesitation. At this moment, Zamasu did not hide himself in any way. It is precisely because of this that Beerus' eyes suddenly lit up at this moment. Coming. Great. Son Goku was also overjoyed. He could clearly feel Zamasu's killing intent, and the aura was almost the same as the guy who picked up the Black Goku. Because of this, Son Goku didn't care about anything else and rushed up to start fighting Zamasu. This time, Son Goku controlled his own strength, keeping his strength at the level of Zamasu. Under such circumstances, the two figures instantly fought together. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. The deafening roar resounded continuously, and it was clear that the two figures were fighting each other, and Zamasu's breath leaked more and more seriously. Good chance. Good news. 5. Seeing this, Beerus and Whis in an area shined brightly. In this case, Zamasu's breath has been completely locked by them. Even in this case, they can already be 100% sure that the Black Goku was taken by Zamasu. Although he is not the Zamasu of this era, he is also from the future world. Thinking of this, Whis subconsciously looked at Beerus and said, "Lord Beerus, what should we do next?" Of course, hearing this, Beerus subconsciously wanted to destroy it. But Beerus swallowed his words, glanced at Kvass, who was worried in the area beside him, and frowned. "Goku, solve the battle quickly, we should go back too. Although I can't wait to kill Zamasu directly." But Beerus still knows that the latter is the 10th Universe Supreme Kai candidate. Even if it is directly the gods of destruction of the 7th Universe, it cannot interfere with the affairs of the 10th Universe. Therefore, in such a situation, only after Zamasu himself leaked the flaws can he be able to kill it. "Yes, Lord Beerus." Hearing this, Son Goku, who was in the middle of the battle, immediately understood what Beerus meant. The latter told him to end the battle. Obviously he had already confirmed his guess. Thinking of this, Son Goku was also very excited, glanced at Zamasu who was attacking, and suddenly shouted, "Ha!" The next second, golden air spewed out. Son Goku immediately transformed into Super Saiyan's state, and then punched Zamasu out again. What? This time, Son Goku's attack directly made Zamasu unbearable. Screaming in his mouth, the whole person flew out like a broken kite. Zamasu. Seeing this situation, Kvass' complexion in the field area changed greatly. The changes in front of him were really beyond his expectations, and he never expected that the human beings brought by Beerus would be so powerful. The most important thing is that Zamasu is the heir chosen by himself, and now that he is injured, it is absolutely not to be underestimated. Kvass. However, before Kvass went to check, Beerus in an area stepped forward. "There is something that needs your help." 5. Master Beerus. Hearing this, Kvass gave Beerus a surprised look. After seeing the latter's serious expression, Kvass also understood that the latter was definitely not talking about simple things. For a time, Kvass felt a trace of unease in his heart. But he didn't know why, so he suppressed his emotions and asked, "Lord Beerus, what do you need my help to do?" Simple. With an indifferent smile, Beerus glanced at the area not far away and Zamasu had passed out. The corners of his mouth raised and said, "You don't need to do anything next, just leave everything to Whis. Whis, it's over to you." "Yes, Lord Beerus." With a promise, Whis didn't hesitate, waved his scepter and covered Kvass' body. The next second, a special force drilled into Kvass' body. After all this was done, Whis looked at Beerus and said, "Lord Beerus, it's done. I will control everything about Lord Kvass in the future." "Very good." Nodding with satisfaction, Beerus looked at Son Goku not far away and said, "Son Goku, let's go." "Yes, Lord Beerus." Agreed. Although Son Goku wanted to ask something, he didn't dare to speak rashly. And he could also see that Beerus seemed to have his own plans, and he didn't need to ask anything. Immediately, Whis waving the scepter directly represented the figures of Beerus and Son Goku disappearing from the place. Chapter 371 Zamasu kills the division. The plan is revealed. Cough cough. The sound of coughing resounded, and Zamasu gradually began to wake up under the treatment of Kvass. With the increasing strength of Kvass, Zamasu's injuries recovered rapidly. "Master." Opening his eyes, Zamasu burst out with killing intent for the first time. But after seeing Kvass in front of him, he immediately restrained his killing intent, looked around and asked, "What about that human?" "Go." 99. Looking at Zamasu, Kvass's expression didn't change. At this moment, he is being controlled by Whis, so naturally he doesn't care about killing intent. After standing up slowly, Kvass said, "Zamasu doesn't need to care. You are a Supreme Kai candidate, and the important thing is not your combat power." However, Kvass's words completely stimulated ZamasuVS. He is God. Proud Supreme Kai. Now that he has lost to a mere human being, how can such a thing be tolerated? But Zamasu also understands that his current strength is not enough to be Son Goku's opponent. But he also has a new plan, which is to become the real Supreme Kai. Only by becoming the real Supreme Kai can he perfect his old plans, become stronger and even kill Son Goku, the guy who brought him shame. "I see, Master." Taking a deep breath, Zamasu stood up slowly and behaved properly. However, his reaction at the moment was no secret to Whis either. For a while, the corners of Kvass' mouth rose slightly, and then he said, "Zamasu, go and make me a cup of tea." 35. I'll take you to the last world after a while, and you can become the real Supreme Kai as long as you complete the test. 55. Hearing this, Zamasu was refreshed. He knew that his chance had come. Become a real Supreme Kai. Then he can complete his plan. Yes. With a promise, Zamasu immediately began to act. After a while, Zamasu walked out of the house with black tea. Just when Zamasu was excited, Kvass, who was sitting there, said quietly, "Zamasu, the necessary condition for becoming Supreme Kai is to love human beings." 99. I have taught you more than once before, to follow the foundations and steps of the growth of all things. 35. Humans are primates, and the next thing you want to be Supreme Kai is that you have to do that. But I believe that after this incident, you can have a new understanding of human beings. Human beings are also existences with great potential, and as long as they can be cultivated well, they can become the mainstay of the universe. 35. The Lord Gods of Destruction Beerus of the 7th universe can instruct a human being to cultivate and even make him reach such a level, which also means that my philosophy has always been correct. 5. However, Kvass's nagging was like 1,000 arrows piercing the heart for Zamasu at the moment. At this moment, Zamasu realized that his excitement just now was hasty, and if nothing else, he won't even be able to complete the Supreme Kai's test. Not for anything else, because he knew very well that he could not love human beings. Especially after what happened to Son Goku, he already wanted to destroy all human beings in his heart. Although Kvass has always cultivated himself extremely, Zamasu also understands that the latter is an extremely stubborn person. Once the latter finds himself unable to meet his requirements, he will definitely choose to remove him from the Supreme Kai alternate seat. Once he loses the seat of Supreme Kai's alternate, then he can't become Supreme Kai, or even Son Goku. Clenching his fists tightly, Zamasu's eyes locked on Kvass in the area in front of him, and the whole person's face was already gloomy to the extreme. Up to now, an extremely evil plan has emerged in his mind. Looking at Kvass, who was still nagging and didn't even notice his situation, Zamasu's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Immediately afterwards, Zamasu stepped forward slowly, and after reaching the area where Kvass was, he quietly raised his hand and displayed the chi-gathering blade. Go to hell. 35. Without the slightest hesitation, Zamasu attacked Kvass without hesitation. Buzz. At the critical moment, a special glove appeared, and Zamasu's gas-gathering blade disappeared instantly. Immediately afterwards, his palm hit Kvass's neck. What? Seeing this, Zamasu was dumbfounded. How could his fatal blow just disappear like this? Zero seeking flowers. And what was the situation with the gloves that appeared? Why was it able to stop his own power? or even make his own power unavailable. Zamasu, why? At this moment, Kvass's painful voice resounded. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Kvass has turned his head at this moment, and the whole person is crying in extreme pain. Although controlled by Whis, Kvass also has his own sanity. Because of this, he can even see everything Zamasu does. This is also something he cannot accept. The disciple whom he had cultivated with all his strength was now depraved, and he even wanted to kill himself, which made him unbelievable. Kvass, see clearly. At this time, the seven-color radiance was bright, and the figures of Beerus, Whis and Son Goku appeared in the arena. 0. After glancing at Zamasu, Beerus slowly opened his mouth and said, as expected, the scourge of the future. It looks like you were able to become Supreme Kai because you killed Kvass and took his place by force. But this time I won't give you any chance of success. Today is your death. What's the meaning? Hearing this, Zamasu was dumbfounded. Beerus' words made him feel inexplicable, even a little shocking. Exposed yourself? Has your plan worked out? Or did the future self really kill Kvass to become Supreme Kai? Not good. Suddenly, Zamasu seemed to think of something. Since what he will do in the future has been exposed, it means that how he defends is meaningless. In addition, it is impossible for Kvass to believe him, and now he is absolutely extremely dangerous. Escape. 35. You must get out of here as soon as possible. Without the slightest hesitation, Zamasu dodged and planned to escape. I want to go. Where can you go? However, before Zamasu could act, Beerus was the first to appear in the area in front of him. Damn! Seeing this, Zamasu was furious, raised his hand and attacked Beerus. However, his attack was meaningless. With a bang, Beerus grabbed Zamasu's hand and said with a cold expression, Destruction. 7. Chapter 372. The death of Zamasu, the collapse of Kvass. What? Screams resounded, and Zamasu's body began to be destroyed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, Zamasu's body was destroyed and turned to ashes. At this point, Zamasu is completely dead. There is no possibility of resurrection and recovery. Gudu. Seeing this, Son Goku couldn't help swallowing. Although Gods of Destruction has been known for a long time to be powerful, he had even heard of the horror of destroying this skill, but this was the first time he had seen Beerus in action. That Zamasu is not strong though. However, even considering the existence of Tier 6, it was destroyed all of a sudden. If this attacked him, the consequences would be unimaginable. For a time, Son Goku was terrified. Back then, he had provoked 303 more than once to Beerus. If it wasn't for the latter's mercy, it would be conceivable to imagine the fate that awaited him. Solve. After successfully killing Zamasu, a smile appeared on Beerus' face. Killed the Zamasu of this era. That also means that things like the future world cannot occur in this world. You don't need to pay for it with your own life, and you don't even need to worry about dying. Thinking of this, Beerus turned to look at Kvass and said, Kvass, there is something wrong with the guy you taught. I'll help you solve it this time, and I hope you can make a good choice next time when you select Supreme Kai alternates. 35. Hearing this, Kvass smiled bitterly. He understood that Beerus was not mocking himself, but because of this, Kvass felt even more uncomfortable. For nothing else, Zamasu was cultivated by him. I thought it was the best Supreme Kai candidate, but I didn't expect him to do such a crazy thing. Subconsciously, Kvass asked, Master Beerus, dare to ask what Zamasu will do in the future? 35. Kvass was extremely puzzled by this. What happened, so that the Gods of Destruction Beerus of the 7th universe came here to find Zamasu, and even wanted to get rid of him at the first time? You must know that even if the Supreme Kai candidate does something unforgivable, it is generally left to Kvass, the Supreme Kai, to deal with it. He killed Supreme Kai from the 7th universe. Taking a look at Kvass, Beerus didn't hide anything, and immediately said, not only that, he will also carry out the human extinction plan in the future world. His purpose is to kill all human beings, which is completely two extremes from your so-called Supreme Kai responsibility, and even Gods of Destruction does not allow such crazy things. The main thing is that if he can kill the Supreme Kai of the 7th universe in the future, then he can go to the other universes and kill the rest of the Supreme Kai. So, you probably already know why I killed him directly. Do you have anything to say about it? Hiss. Kill the 7th universe Supreme Kai. Destroy all human beings in the future world. After listening to Beerus's remarks, Kvass couldn't help taking a deep breath. His whole body swayed and almost didn't fall to the ground. If the things that Zamasu attacked him before are still understandable, then the things that Zamasu did in the future world are completely unacceptable to him. For a time, Kvass stayed in place for a long time, unable to regain his senses. Seeing this, Beerus sighed. Although everyone is not the existence of a universe, and it is not a position of God's residence, but he also understands how bad Kvass's mood is now. If the Gods of Destruction candidate he cultivated did something similar, he would only be more angry and sentimental. But soon, Beerus calmed down and looked at Kvass. Kvass, since the matter has been completed, then I should also leave. As soon as these words came out, Kvass also came back to his senses. As Beerus said, their purpose in coming here has been fulfilled, and there will be no point in staying there. Thinking of this, Kvass said immediately, if that's the case, then I won't send Lord Beerus. But please, Lord Beerus, can tell me that Zamasu is in the timeline in the future. I want to see with my own eyes just how depraved the guy is. 35. At this moment, Kvass was extremely sad. But there is still some hope in the heart. If what Beerus said was false, then he had a way to make up for it. But if it is true, Kvass also wanted to see with his own eyes what kind of bastard he had taught. Timeline. Raising his brows, Beerus turned his head to look at Whis and said, Whis, did you notice the timeline before? No, Lord Beerus. 99. Hearing this, Whis shook his head and said, I didn't notice the coordinates of the future world where Zamasu was located. But if you want to know, you have to go back to the 7th universe to find the trunks. There are clear coordinates on the time machine he took when he escaped from the future world. As long as he knows the coordinates, he can go to the time where Zamasu is in the future. As soon as these words came out, Beerus frowned. He really didn't want outsiders to get involved in this matter. After all, Trunks is the existence of the future world, and he has now reached the 7th universe to essentially destroy it. But now he didn't do it, and even let it exist in the 7th universe. If this makes Kvass sees the weakness, then, don't worry, Lord Beerus. Seemingly seeing Beerus' concern, Gwaston on the side opened his mouth and said, in the final analysis, this matter was caused by Zamasu. 35. Even the humans in that future world are 0.7 victims. If it wasn't for him who came to ask for help, then we wouldn't know what happened to Zamasu. So, I'm not going to tell anyone about his origin and existence. I just want to go to Zamasu's time to find out. Hearing this, Beerus breathed a sigh of relief. If Kvass is so good, then he doesn't need to be a bad guy. And Kvass is Supreme Kai, and it is understandable for him to want to see for himself what the future of the guy he cultivates will look like. Thinking of this, Beerus immediately said, so, then you can go to the 7th universe with us. Whis, lead the way. We will return to the 7th universe right now, just in time to see what the guy in the future world looks like and is so arrogant and domineering. Chapter 373 Kvass's Choice, Black Goku's Plan. Future World. West. What the hell are you doing? 35. You know that your actions will reveal yourself and even nearly die. 9. And now it has attracted the attention of Beerus and others. Once they come here, our plan will really fall short. Looking at the Black Goku in front of him, Zamasu said with a bit of hatred. For the latter's rash action, Zamasu was extremely angry. If it weren't for the fact that both parties were the same person, then he would have liked to kill them directly to avoid future troubles. No need to worry. However, at the moment, the Black Goku looked extremely indifferent, glanced at Zamasu and said, our plan will not fail. This age belongs to us, it belongs to God's nursery, and no one can threaten our existence. 99. Although I took a risk this time, and even nearly died in the 7th universe, my gains were also huge. 55. I didn't expect that in addition to Sun Wu 20 Kong, there is a more powerful existence in Saiyan. That guy is Vegeta. So, now I need you to go to a previous era and take Vegeta's body as well. As long as you complete the capture, then you and I will be able to complete the final form, and even become more powerful and terrifying. What? Take Vegeta's body? Hearing this, Zamasu frowned. His expression was not very good and said, I am immortal. You asked me to take a human in the Vegeta area. He is not worthy. And I will not promise such a thing. As a god, my existence is absolute. I do not need to use the power of mortals to enhance myself. If you want to accomplish this, we could be looking for one, but are you sure that will actually work? As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the venue was deadly. Black Goku was annoyed at Zamasu's rejection, but he couldn't force anything until now. After all, the immortality of the latter is incomparable to him, and even he cannot destroy it. Thinking of this, Black Goku pondered slightly, and then said, if that's the case, then you are looking for one of us from the previous timeline to cooperate. Let him capture Vegeta's body as soon as possible and come here to join me. At that time, I need his power to help me continue to perfect my transformation. The previous battles made me feel that there is a deeper transformation form, and once it is completed, neither Vegeta nor Beerus can be my opponent. Only in this way can we ensure that even if Beerus and others arrive here, they will not be enough to pose a threat to us, and it is impossible to sabotage our plan. As soon as these words came out, Zamasu's face also became serious. Although he is conceited, he also understands what Gods of Destruction represents, and more clearly what level Beerus represents within Gods of Destruction. I see. After a little pondering, Zamasu quickly made a decision and said, I will act now. Then you will take good care of yourself, and I will be back when the injury recovers. 35 inches. After speaking, Zamasu no longer hesitated, and immediately activated the Ring of Time. In the next second, Zamasu's figure disappeared completely from the spot. Damn tilde apostrophe. Seeing Zamasu leave, Goku couldn't help but scold. Up to now, he is very aware of how bad his current situation is, but he has no choice. Looking at his injuries, Goku clenched his fists subconsciously, gritted his teeth and said, Son Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, you all wait for me. See you next time. I must completely kill you to become the greatest god in the universe. 35. After finishing speaking, Black Goku no longer hesitated, dragging his injured body and slowly walked towards a peach garden not far away. Time house. Bang! The roar resounded, and the door of the time house was broken. Immediately afterwards, the figures of Bupa and Trunks can be seen stepping out of it. 3 days have passed. In the time house, Trunks has been practicing for 3 years. 3 years later, Trunks' hair has grown longer and longer, but otherwise nothing major has changed. But the aura emanating from his entire body is also extremely powerful, not even comparable to 3 days ago. Lord Bupa. 35. After walking out of the time house, Trunks looked at Bupa excitedly and said, "Thank you, Mr. Bupa, for your guidance during this time." "No problem." With a wave of his hand, Bupa glanced at Trunks and said, "It's all due to your own talent." However, being able to cultivate your basic combat power to the early stage of tier 8 in such a short period of time, your talent is really powerful, even 3 points stronger than Vegeta. 3 days. Under the guidance of Bupa, Trunks has cultivated the basic combat power to the early stage of the 8th order. In addition, Trunks has also completed the second level training of Super Saiyan God. But the strange thing is that although Trunks did not practice Gods of Destruction, they still completed the Super Saiyan blue color. This was something Bupa didn't expect, and it even puzzled him. After all, without the power of Gods of Destruction, it is logically impossible for Trunks to complete the Super Blue. 303. But he's done, and stronger than Son Goku and Vegeta's Ultra Blue forms, and second only to Deep Blue forms. It can be said that Trunks better interprets the power of the Super Blue form, and I don't know if it is because of the mixed Saiyan blood, he seems to be more suitable for the path of God. Lord Bupa is over the top. Facing Bupa's praise, Trunks was a little shy at the moment. Although it has become stronger, the heart of the child has not changed, which is very important for the future of Trunks. All right. Seeing this situation, Bupa waved his hand, and then said indifferently, "Since the matter has been dealt with almost, then it is almost time for us to leave this place. 3 days have passed. I believe the time machine has been repaired, and we can just go to the future world to see it." "Yes, Lord Bupa." Hearing this, Trunks' expression suddenly became solemn. He is very concerned about returning to the future world and killing Black Goku. After all, it was because of that guy's existence that all the people he cared about in the future world died. Even the human beings in the future world are facing the crisis of Black Goku's complete destruction at any time, and he must go back and solve this matter as soon as possible. Crystal. Chapter 374. Going to the future world. Impatient Son Goku. Universal Capsule Company. Zizi. Space shakes. Bupa returns with Trunks. Master Bupa. Trunks. Almost as soon as they appeared, several voices followed. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Vegeta, Son Gohan and others are already waiting in the arena. In the area not far from them, the time machine has been repaired and placed on the lawn waiting. Dad, Big Brother Gohan, Mum. Seeing this, Trunks also quickly stepped forward to reunite with Vegeta, Bulma, and others. He knew very well that he would be leaving soon, and that he would not even be able to return here. Therefore, under such circumstances, he cherishes the feeling of being reunited with everyone at this moment. Seeing this, Bupa didn't bother walking to the area where the time machine was. Bupa's eyes flashed and he began to look at it. Although there is a time machine in his hand, it is connected to the future world of GT Universe. It does not exist at a point in time at all, and the dimensions of the two sides are completely different. After all, GT Universe is just a parallel universe, and GT Future World is just a sub-universe. It is completely impossible to match the power and dimension of the main universe. Of course, if GT Universe can enter the main universe and even be accepted, the power of the two universes will also be greatly improved. Such a thing is almost impossible, though, and Bupa doesn't think something like that could happen. Master Bupa. At this time, Son Gohan stepped to the area where Bupa was, bowed and said, "Sir, we are going to the future world. Do you have any advice?" After saying that, Son Gohan looked at Bupa with bright eyes. Although its own strength has become stronger, it has even reached the point where it is not inferior to Vegeta. But Son Gohan vaguely felt that this time the action was not simple, and it might even be extremely dangerous. So, under such circumstances, he chose to ask Bupa for help. After all, Bupa's strength is obvious to all, and even Gods of Destruction Beerus is no match for him. "Don't worry about it." Seeing this, Bupa didn't know what Son Gohan's worries were. It is precisely because of this that Bupa's expression is more indifferent at the moment. After arriving in the future world, you and Vegeta can deal with Black Goku and Zamasu respectively. Even if there is an unexpected existence, with the current strength of Trunks, even in the face of the existence of Tier 10 combat power, it will still have the power to fight, which is completely enough to help you solve the problem. 39. If there is really something that you can't solve, then I will choose to help. Hearing this, Son Gohan immediately sighed in relief. With Bupa's reply, he didn't have to worry about anything at the moment. After all, in such a situation, with Bupa's help, there would be no problem at all. Da. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came. Looking around, I can see that Trunks and Vegeta are coming in a hurry. When they reached the area where Bupa was, the two of them immediately bowed and saluted. Lord Bupa, we are ready. Lord Bupa, we can leave for the future world. Hearing this, Bupa's eyes flashed with surprise. Vegeta can understand, but Trunks can make a decision in such a short period of time, which shows the firmness of his heart. After all, Bulma was his mother, and it was really inappropriate to be so determined to leave now. It is good. Nodding, Bupa didn't refuse anything. After all, under such circumstances, some things really cannot continue to be delayed. He also has to go to the future world, preferably to get the time ring in Zamasu's hand. With the existence of this thing, he can roam various timelines and use the Super Dragon Ball to become stronger. Of course, Bupa won't be used all the time either. He knew very well that Super Shenron's power was also limited, and he only needed to get enough items and props. It was unrealistic for him to help him become stronger. Immediately, the group of four no longer hesitated, and directly turned on the time machine and walked into it. Da. After entering the time machine, Trunks began to operate directly. After a while, the time machine dazzled directly into the sky, and quietly disappeared in place under the gaze of Bulma and others. Not long after the time machine left, 7 color light beams fell from the sky in midair. In the next second, the figure of Whis and his party could be seen arriving here. Goku, Dad. When they saw Son Goku and the others returning, Bulma, Son Goten and the others who were about to leave immediately went to meet them. Seeing this, Son Goku and the others stepped forward without hesitation. Soon, a group of people gathered. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku asked, "Where are Bulma, Vegeta and the others?" As soon as these words came out, Beerus and others also looked at Bulma. After all, they came this time to get the coordinates of the future world, but now they haven't seen the existence of Vegeta and others, which makes them feel uneasy. Vegeta? Slightly stunned, Bulma said subconsciously, "I just left." 35. Not long ago Vegeta represented Gohan, and Trunks traveled to the future with Lord Bupa. 99. Goku, are you looking for Vegeta for something? Or did something important happen? No room for Bulma not to worry. After all, almost every time Son Goku goes to Vegeta, something goes wrong, and it's definitely not something that can be easily solved. What? Go away. 39. Hearing this, Son Goku didn't speak yet, but Beerus' expression on this side was extremely ugly. Bupa and others have left, so how should they find the coordinates of the future world, and, okay, where to go? Bulma. At this time, Son Goku seemed to have thought of something, and quickly asked, "Then do you know the coordinates of the future world?" 35. It's the coordinates on the Trunks time machine. This Lord Kvass is the Supreme Kai of the 10th universe. He needs to go to the future world to complete one thing, and he needs to get the coordinates of that world to get pregnant. Coordinate. Bulma sighed with relief, nodding his head in a sigh of relief. Just because of the coordinates, it's not a big deal. Thinking of this, Bulma immediately said, "Of course I know where the coordinates are. After all, I was the one who repaired the time machine." 35. Since you need it, then I will give you the coordinates of the future world now. But if you go to the future world, you are not allowed to do anything to Trunks. He has returned and is not disturbing anything. Chapter 375. Arriving in the future world, Special Existence, Black Vegeta. Hearing this, Beerus didn't know what Bulma was worried about. The latter is worried about going to the future world to shoot Trunks. But Beerus didn't care. After all, he never thought of doing something similar. Do not worry. With a wave of his hand, Beerus immediately said, "I won't take trouble with Trunks." We went to the future world this time to completely solve the matter of the 10th universe Supreme Kai candidate Zamasu. Supreme Kai alternate. After being stunned for a moment, Bulma was completely relieved. Immediately afterwards, Bulma no longer hesitated, and quickly handed over the coordinates of the future world to Beerus. After getting the coordinates of the future world, Beerus turned to look at Kvass and said, "Kvass, can your time ring take us there?" "Yes, Lord Beerus." Nodding his head, Kvass said indifferently, "Are the four of us still going?" Saying that, he glanced at Son Goku. Although it is not clear what the relationship between the two parties is, Son Goku's strength cannot be underestimated. Master Beerus. At this time, Sun Wu 307 Kong quickly looked at Beerus. He wanted to go, and if Beerus didn't take him there, then he would not be able to accept it. "Let's go together." 39. Waving his hand, Beerus didn't intend to waste time and said, "Just let him go to see and see together." "It is good." Nodding, Kvass didn't hesitate, and immediately activated the ability of the time ring to wrap the four of them. The next second, the buzzing sound resounded. With the activation of the Ring of Time's ability, Kvass, Son Goku and others just disappeared from the spot. Future world. Buzz. The white brilliance was bright, and the time machine represented the figures of Bupa and others in the sky above the ruins of the western capital. Looking around, The entire western capital has been reduced to ruins, and there is not even any aura of life in it. Not only that, but the area that originally belonged to the Universal Capsule Company has been reduced to a huge ruin. There is no doubt that the Bulma of this era has long since died, and has even been dead for a long time. Damn it, Black Goku, you deserve to die. Seeing this, Trunks instantly turned red. Although he had already known about Bulma's death, he still couldn't accept it. Also red-eyed as Vegeta. Looking at the area that had been reduced to ruins, he knew that the Bulma of this era was completely dead. For a time, Vegeta clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes overflowed with murderous intent. Damn it, this time, it must be smashed into pieces. 35. While talking, the figures of several people walked out of the time machine. After taking the time machine back into the Universal Capsule, several people are now in the ruins of the Universal Capsule Company. After looking around, Trunks said quietly, Lord Bupa, what should we do next? Go straight to the Black Goku, but we don't seem to know where he is. As soon as these words came out, Vegeta and Son Goku also looked at Bupa subconsciously. Indeed, they don't know where the Black Goku is. If this is to be found, how should such a large universe be found? Even if they are on the Earth, but the big Earth is not something they can find casually. No need to worry. In response, Bupa waved his hand and said, you just need to release your breath. The Black Goku guy is arrogant. Once he knows your return, he will definitely come. Especially Vegeta and the Trunks, both of you are hugely exciting for him. I see. Hearing this, Vegeta and Trunks were enlightened. After looking at each other, Vegeta stepped forward and said, if so, then, let me come. 35. That guy was almost killed by me before, and now if he knew of my appearance, he would have come to stop him immediately. 5. While speaking, Vegeta no longer hesitated, and immediately transformed into Super Saiyan 2 with aeration. For a time, the whole earth shook as Vegeta's breath swept out. The entire earth was filled with his breath fluctuations. This breath is 35. Almost instantly, within a certain peach orchard on earth, Kurogoku's tightly closed eyes suddenly opened. After feeling Vegeta's breath, his entire complexion instantly turned gloomy. Immediately afterwards, Black Goku slowly stood up and gritted his teeth. Damn it, since you dare to come here, you are simply courting death. As he spoke, Kurogoku flew up and planned to leave. Wait a moment. Just at this moment, a cry came. Looking at the sound, Zamasu's figure can be seen hurriedly coming from the far area. At the same time, in the area next to Zamasu, a figure similar to Vegeta also came out. It's just that the aura that this Vegeta exudes also belongs to Zamasu. Obviously, this is the helper Zamasu found in the rest of the time and space, and he has also successfully used Super Shenron to capture Vegeta's body. Finally home. Seeing this, Black Goku's eyes flashed, and then he said, you're finally here. How can you completely grasp this power? After he finished speaking, his eyes turned to Black Vegeta. The latter is what he cares about the most. As for Zamasu, although the body of immortality is strong and true, to be honest, the strength of the latter is indeed not strong. Certainly. The corners of his mouth rose, and Hybe raised the corners of his mouth and said, although it is unbelievable, as you said, this body has extremely terrifying talents and abilities. 35. My current strength has already surpassed my previous self, and even reached a higher level. But what about the guy in this era? Didn't you kill it? He could also feel the aura that Vegeta released. It is because of this that he is even more puzzled at the moment. Not really. With a wave of his hand, Black Goku said, that Vegeta is from the Lord Universe. It's just that they came here now to kill us, or even to sabotage our plan. Originally, I planned to go alone, but since you have already come, let's go together. It is good. Nodding, Hybe did not refuse. He also wanted to test his own limits. Thinking of this, Hybe said immediately, so, let's go now. Are you going to? Saying that, he glanced at Zamasu in the side area. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me. Link is in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.